come on, you little bastard. Go live. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Ackle on your end, of course. Welcome back to each and one of you. Of course, if you're watching this over on YouTube, remember to slap that like button. Just give it a little spanky spank. And, of course, hit that subscribe button. Better yet, you could come over to Twitch and just hang out with us here. It is always more fun doing it live. Always. Hold up. What video is this? Okay, I know which video to go live with currently, so we'll do this one first. Okay, that should work. Yeah. Okay. That's live. Not that's live. That's live. And then I think I actually have an Echo live stream that has to be made live. Yes. Indeed. So let's do that. Fucking hell. Some of my live streams are popping off. I don't know why. Because it's live streams. It's not meant to pop off. It's literally just like fucking vlogs. Enoch, how you doing, bro? It's just like what's it called? It's the vlog, not the vlog. What the fuck's it called again? The VOD of the live stream. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. And yet they're popping off. I don't know why. Some of these getting like 150 views. Makes no sense. These are 4-hour-long fucking live streams. Katyash, how you doing? Miss you so much. How you feeling, man? I'm feeling great. Thank you very much for asking, Katyash. I am feeling absolutely perfect. Cold as shit. But outside of that, very good. How's everyone else doing? I'm at work. Finally got a speaker so I can actually hear you while I work. Nice, Enoch. Enoch, you added me as friend on Final Fantasy, didn't you? Mickey Moto, how you doing, bro? Happy to be back. As always, very happy to be back. I'm also good, but now seeing you healthy, my heart rejoices. I'm feeling better than just okay. Like today, going back to the gym, you know, I went last week, but couldn't really do much. Very fatigued still. I feel good, so going back to the gym is going to be fucking awesome. I'm starting a 3-day fast today as well. So for the next 3 days, no food whatsoever. Just getting back into the rhythm of shit. Enoch, I can't add you for some reason. Kylie K, how you doing? LPX, how you doing, brother? Hope you're feeling better. Just woke up, getting my coffee to chill and listen. I'm glad to. I'm feeling a lot better. Love you, man. God bless you. Katias, love you too. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. When I stream bombed you, I can't accept it. For some reason, I say accept and then it says can't something command line or some shit like that. How you doing? You're still playing the wreck that is WoW? I haven't. Well, I played WoW yesterday actually. Just before my power went out. So for like 2.5 hours, I was leveling my demon. Well, not leveling my demon hunter, gearing my demon hunter, and doing some like just doing the random quests around. So I still play WoW. Yeah, absolutely. Indigarona, how you doing? 3-day fast, Typhoon. Yes, I try to do. Adam, how you doing, bro? Ursia, how you doing? And Jockey, how you doing? I try to do a 3-day fast genuinely like every 6 months or so. I tried to go 3 days without eating anything. I've done that even before I was on the diet, right? Before I started going to the gym. Because fasting is really good for you. Like, it's really fucking healthy. So if you can do like a 72-hour fast every 6 months, there's so much that your body just self-heals in that period of time. So I've sort of been doing that. At least every, like I said, every 6 months. Sorry, I'm just quickly trying to switch my account back so that I get the right account there. There we go. It's rough getting used to, but it gets easier. I'd say the first day is hard. Like, the first day of fasting is really difficult. And Jockey, thanks for the prime sub, dude. Really fucking appreciate that. 6 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd say the first day is really difficult when fasting, but then it sort of gets very easy. Like, the second day is not hard at all. The third day, you don't even think about food. It's in cycles. If you ignore it, it will pass. True. Very true. What type of fasting? Like, no water, no food? No, water, absolutely. So I have my water right here, and I'll do tea like this. It's rooibos tea. So I'll do tea with no sugar, no milk, just literally the tea. And I'll do water, but no food whatsoever. You know, like I said, you don't feel hungry. Like, just the first day that you really sort of struggle to eat. But then after that, it goes away completely and you just feel fine. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's all good. I'm most looking forward to the gym, though. I resorted to weight loss surgery, but I couldn't eat for 2 weeks prior. In the corona, I don't think I could, even if I wanted to. Like, if I went to the doctor now and said I wanted to do the weight loss surgery, I think they would turn me away. Mainly because I'm not at a point where it's really endangering my life or my health has deteriorated to the point where I require something like surgery. Plus, the doctor would just tell me, listen, you get your ass in the fucking gym, work out a little bit. You know. The Grey, how you doing, brother? Okay, got it. Because I'm planning to prepare myself in time to be able to achieve a 40-day fast. I would not do a 40-day fast. There's literally no health benefits to that. So unless it's for religious purposes, which of course people can do if they want, I wouldn't do 40 days. Like, literally the benefits after 72 hours just diminishes severely. Like, for the first 72 hours, your body is healing itself. It's replenishing a lot of the fucking cells and killing off some of the old cells that doesn't need to be there. Muscle recovery. So a lot of things that happens in the first 72 hours. But then after that, it just diminishes completely up until like a week in. Then there's just no reason to keep fasting. Moving for like 2 weeks. Oh shit, it's definitely extreme. I only had it due to a few health conditions. Hey, if that's what you required in order to do it, go for it. As long as you can stick with it. Because a lot of people think that those surgeries are just the one and done sort of thing, right? You get the surgery, you're just going to lose weight. I know people who went on the surgery and basically gained everything that they lost. So your voice is back and you look lively again. Strive, how you doing, bro? Happy to be back. So drink some apple cider vinegar with water. Stops you feeling hungry and has loads of health benefits too. I mean, water stops you from feeling hungry as well. Surgery is not a permanent fix. No, you have to change. It's all about lifestyle, right? Which is difficult. I'm sitting here fat fuck as I am, not giving anyone health advice. So don't take my advice for anything. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. But it is about lifestyle changes, right? You have to change the way you look at life. Nothing special. You have to accept it. Yes, Typhon. I would say more than 3 days and you're starting to push yourself beyond the limits of normality. Say that. You can still give advice and share your own journey. Sharing my own journey, that's perfectly fine. My biggest issue is I don't want people to follow my advice because I know nothing. Look at me. Do I look like the kind of guy that knows everything there is to know about fucking health? No, of course not. I would not follow my own advice. If I saw me on live stream listening to me talk about fucking health benefits and how to live healthy, I would not believe me. So just as long as people don't start going, well, Akalon does it, so clearly it must be something that I can do. I just do whatever feels healthy to me. That's it. Anyways, I've been playing Final Fantasy today for about 2.5 hours. And whilst I'm still struggling with the enjoyment of Final Fantasy, like, I'll be honest, there's still so much that I'm not getting. There was one part of it right at the end that I did start to enjoy. I just got like a new I guess you call it class quest or some shit. But it's like these duty quests. I guess that's what it's called because it keeps telling me duty completed. But it's these duty quests, and that was actually pretty fun. Spiritually religious. Catty Ash, if it's a religious reason for you not wanting to eat for 40 days, more power to you. I have zero religious inclinations, so for me, 3 days is just a health thing. GoldenEye, how you doing, brother? Final Fantasy, well, to be fair, I've been playing now for about 11 hours, right? I've been playing Final Fantasy for 11 hours now, and it was brutal. I would say the first 11 hours was boring as shit. You don't have enough spells. Your spells don't feel good to use. Your rotation is literally 2 buttons. That's it. It's 2 buttons. You press no other buttons because there's this sort of weird combo thing in Final Fantasy where you use one spell and then it empowers another spell. So I chose Gladiator. Apparently that makes me an automatic tank. I didn't choose to be a tank, but I just became a tank. And then I just joined the Alchemy Guild, and apparently that now somehow changes my fucking class because it told me that I need to equip a different weapon, and the different weapon will now give me something new. I don't know how the fuck it works. Genuinely don't have a fucking clue how it works. Because everything in that... Nothing in that game makes fucking sense to me. Wait. When I got you to play, you said it was Weibo crap. Adam, I started playing it again for a first impressions video, right? That I'm literally making. I'm making a first impressions video. So I'm sort of forced to struggle through what would be considered the weeb crap, in my opinion. I've seen the Mortal Kombat movie. It's good-ish. Actually, miserable movie from an acting perspective. The acting is shit. Cinematography, shit. Plot, shit. Fights, the combat is cool. That's it. That really is the end of the movie. It's a cool movie if you're just someone that cares about the sort of world, I guess you could say, of Mortal Kombat. But it's not good in any other way. Yeah, let's not even start with the whole classes jobs thing. I don't know how it works. I saw a quest on my map and I thought, fuck it, I'll go pick it up. I went and I picked it up, and it was for the Alchemy Guild, and I thought, all right, cool. So we're going to learn how to make potions and shit. And then as soon as I finished that quest, it said, change your main hand weapon, and suddenly you'll be a new class. And I was like, how the fuck does that work? I thought I was just going to be an alchemist. Now I'm a new class. I don't know how that works, but, you know, I'm still a tank, because I still have all my same abilities that the Gladiator tank has. Even though, I will say this, here's what I think is absolutely amazing about Final Fantasy. This is one thing that I will give Final Fantasy above World of Warcraft or any other MMO that I've played so far, right? Hands down. Their introduction, or how they handle their introduction to... for new players to figure out how the game works. So I just went through... It's called the Smith something. You talk to this guy and you go into this sort of room where they give you combat scenarios that you have to play through. Now, for someone that's already well experienced in the game, that was very boring, but it did give me XP, so I did it so that I could get the XP from it. However, I do have to say, very cool if you put yourself in the shoes of a new player that doesn't understand any of this. Because as a tank, one of the first things you learn is how to get out of area of effect, like AoE abilities, so that you move out of them and don't get hit by them. Then you go back in and it teaches you how to keep threat, how to get threat on multiple targets. You know, all of these things are really cool from a new player perspective, which I think is awesome. Clown, how you doing, bro? All of the Novice, that's the one, Truffle Shuffle. I really like the New World class system. Equip any weapon and train with it. New World's class system is going to be interesting, but we'll have to see how it works. Dido, how you doing, bro? But doing that trainer also gives you armor, and at the end gives you a 15% XP boost ring. Oh, I did not know that. Clown, thank you for the follow. Really fucking appreciate that. I take it you are playing on the EU-SA data center. Truffle Shuffle, no. I'm playing on NA. I don't know what fucking data center I'm on. It's NA something. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've not focused enough on the game to really know anything that goes on in that game. Ether? No, I'm not on Ether. Truffle Shuffle. I don't know if you can play with other people. I thought it would give New World a chance, but now not so sure. I'm going to play New World and I'm going to do a first impressions on New World. So if anyone isn't certain if they're going to be playing, or if they want to play New World, just wait for my first impressions video. Because I will be playing New World. I will give you my thoughts on it. And I'll tell you whether or not I think it's worth playing. I will also be doing a first impressions of patch 9.1. If it ever fucking releases, because at this point, who knows? Who knows? What I found with Final Fantasy XIV is the base game is okay. It gets good at the end of that story, but after that, with the expansions, the game gets amazing. They start really playing with the dungeons and raids, etc. So right now, I'm not doing any group content. Enoch Blade really, Enoch really wants to play with me. Truffle Shuffle, you want to play with me? So as soon as I get to a point where I can start doing dungeons and raids, I'm definitely going to approach you guys and be like, hey, fucking help me out. I don't know what I'm doing. And then test the dungeons and the raids to see if the game actually feels good so that I can finish off my first impressions video. Because originally, usually when I do things like first impressions, I do 10 hours, right? Because if a game can't convince me in 10 hours to play the game, there's just no fucking point to playing the game, right? And that's usually my go-to. If in 10 hours I'm still not sure if I like the game, then I don't like the game. The game is silly and stupid. I'm not going to play it. Enough people convinced me that in order to really do a first impressions on Final Fantasy, I have to go to the end. Like, I have to feel what the end is like. Pyro, how you doing, brother? You're forced into group content anyways as part of the main story quest. Takes you into dungeons. They make it part of the story. I'm looking forward to that. And it will be beaten again by the time Blizz released the patch. I wanted to bot a ninja. I couldn't get the quest bot to work, though. I'm a kitty. How you doing? By the way, Blue Fairy, thank you so much for what's up. Really fucking appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blue Fairy, how are you? I'm trying to remember which server I'm on. Hold up. I'm probably going to have to fucking look now. So that I can tell you. Because I genuinely have no idea. Sweetly Seer. Alright. I'm logging in now. So we'll see. I don't know which server I'm on. I've been sick and I've been sort of feeling under the fucking weather, but that's finally gone. We'll start here. Which server am I on? Or data center or whatever the fuck you call it. I'm on Goblin. I'm a kiddie. I had COVID. I'm in the Scholar, which is kind of like a disc priest. So if you need someone to heal and keep your ass alive, also played Summoner, which is basically a warlock. I chose a gladiator, right? But now it seems that my gladiator actually turns me into a fucking... The world is currently full. Okay, never mind. But my gladiator just automatically turns me into a tank. Can you not be like a damage dealer, gladiator? Vaccinated first time on Monday. I'm a kiddie. Even if I wanted to get the vaccine, no ordinary people in South Africa gets the vaccine. Like, there are no vaccines for ordinary people in South Africa. Sticking with the pointy end, okay? All these fucking pop-ups, bro. I have to say, the graphics looks very bad. But yeah, I'm on the Goblin server thing. The graphics is miserable. Lighting is miserable. So I'm hoping that the game gets slightly better. I don't like the fact that I'm only tank. Off topic, Echo, since the gift I sent you back in February still hasn't made it to you, I'm going to send another one. We'll just going to take time to make them again. Blue Fairy, oh shit, yes. I still have not received it. But I'm going to give you a new address as well for it. The address that you have still works, so if you want to send it to there, that's still fine. But I'll send you another address, so you can choose. The one is my home address, and the other one is office address. Send you a message on Insta. All right, I'll check my messages on Insta. You know how I get with messages. Anyways, I don't want to play the game. I just wanted to see what fucking server I'm on. I won't submit the rest of you to the Final Fantasy playthrough. Enough Blanche, I'm not starting over just to fucking get a new class. I'm sorry, I'm not struggling through that again. So I was wondering about the question of the future of WoW. I think it has to be something that makes players feel connected to their characters again, and to revisit some old enemies like the Scarlet Crusade, Black Dragons, etc. Venetia, we are going to talk about it. Usually I do about an hour of just sort of hanging out, waiting for everyone to sort of filter in and, you know, get here and feel comfortable. And then once everyone is in, that's when we dive into, like, the topic. But I agree with your initial thoughts there. The future of WoW, Blizzard needs to do something big, and we're going to talk about that. What you want is a Dark Knight? I don't know what I want. Can you... Like, if I chose a Gladiator, am I limited only to Gladiator? I have to start over for a new class. You can pick up a different class and just level it through dungeons or the adventure guide. Really quick to get the base class up to the point where it evolves. Oh, okay. Sathix, thank you so much for the fucking Prime sub. Did really fucking appreciate that. 21 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm feeling good. Yuku, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. 30 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All connected to the characters is so important. Playing through Classic and then leveling again for TBC. The past few weeks reminds me how important that is. Yes. In Classic, TBC, even Wrath, I would say all the way up to Mist of Pandaria, you were extremely connected to your class, right? Your class was everything. And one of the most fun ways to experience the game was actually playing a different class and experiencing the game through a different class. Much of that has been lost. These days, the game just feels so monotonous that even on a new character, you literally feel bored, right? A new character doesn't change the game enough to the point where you don't feel bored with it. For you and what each class, base class becomes. All right, I'll check it out, Adam. Final Fantasy console. DM me on Discord. Otherwise, I'm going to lose that. Guaranteed going to lose that. For me, I don't believe that Blizzard's WoW bubble will endure. That is not an objective take. Andy, I think it is actually, considering that most of the people that comment on my videos, most of the people that I talk to have the exact same complaint. So it's objective enough to where there's a lot of people that share that view. There's a lot of people that feel exactly that. Jamil, thank you for Prime sub. Really fucking appreciate that. 2 months in a row, 5 months altogether. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know how you could hear the exact opposite from any. The only people that I could imagine that would have an opposite feeling would be raiders and PvPers. So people that do the endgame content. Yes, they will probably have a very different experience because it's still, in terms of World of Warcraft, Blizzard is still the king when it comes to PvE content. As for everything else, it's the same. Blue Age and Astrologist. Now I want to play. Wild Boy who? I had to make it in Balf for TBC Classic, but he's playing Horde, which I don't mind. But man, do I not want to play a Balf? But I has to. I'm kind of wanting a Pally. Just go Warlock. We need more class story, class quest lines, like Legion had, in my opinion. I'll discuss that in a moment. So, Echo, to be fair, I hated the graphics of Final Fantasy when I first started too, but they grew on me. I think it's very similar to World of Warcraft, right? Bikarku, how you doing, bro? I think it's very similar to World of Warcraft. In World of Warcraft, if you've played the game for any period of time, the graphics starts actually... It becomes the norm. Like, if... One of the things I hate most is whenever people say, we need a new engine for World of Warcraft. And it's like, no. New engine is fine if the engine is only there to actually make it so that you can have 40 people in a raid and it doesn't lag out to fuck. But I don't want new graphics. And that's unfortunately what most people mean when they say new engine, new graphics. I think the graphics of World of Warcraft looks absolutely amazing. I don't want the graphics to ever change in World of Warcraft. Andy, are you saying that raiding is the only relevant content in the game as it should be? Or are you saying it is currently the only relevant content in the game? Because based on that, there's going to be a huge disagreement between you and me. If they decide to do 9 to 11 months release between patches and WoW, then the game is done. If they start speeding up content patches, then the game will do fine. Jamalman, I do not agree with that at all. In fact, I actually think that the way in which World of Warcraft handles their patches is the very reason it sucks the way that it does. 60 human lock, I leveled up last year, which I had absolute blast on, but my arrows left me hanging and I'm playing with others now. Unsubbed from WoW 4 to 5 months ago, picked up Swatter and finished the story in that, but the end game in that game kind of sucks. Been tempted for Final Fantasy 14 again and really excited for the expansion November, Endwalker. The model updates for characters is fine in my opinion. The boost can't give you for the start. They can make pretty things when they want. They don't need a new engine. True. So basically you want them to maintain the graphic style but improve the quality as they've done over the years is good. The gray, when I'm talking about... So I have no problem with the graphics as it is. In fact, I had no problem with the graphics in vanilla. World of Warcraft is a stylized game. There's no need to update the graphics in any way, shape or form. It's stylized, therefore the graphics persist. The updates is fine, and the updates look good, but they're not important to me. That's not why I play World of Warcraft. When I'm talking about what I would like them to do, is to actually increase the performance of the game. Because right now, that is the biggest thing that keeps World of Warcraft back. The only one I care for, besides collecting. Not like the new models. Then use the old models. You can switch back to the old models. Like, whatever happened to Rift, is that still a thing? I do not think Rift exists anymore, to be quite fair. It's from 2004 and still looks better than most games. I mean, to be fair, the argument that it's from 2004 isn't necessarily a fair argument. Because World of Warcraft isn't really from 2004. Not anymore, right? It's been updated multiple times since. Hey, bro, how you feeling? Good to see you back. Rhinos Den, how you doing, bro? I'm feeling fantastic. Thank you very much for asking. Something of Legion that was amazing to me, the Stormheim grappling system. The Stormheim grappling system provided players with an extra sort of fun thing to do, which is perfectly good, perfectly fine, absolutely. We'll get into the topic in about half an hour, right? We'll talk about exactly what, like how these things should play out. Good to see you back. You feeling better? Karkle, I am feeling much better. Thank you much for asking. Mage Tower returning during Legion time walking. One can dream. I don't think it's just the Mage Tower. I think there's a lot more that needs to happen. But in single-player games on your radar, Mr. Akko? Single-player games on my radar at the moment? Not really. Not currently, at least. There's a couple of games that I'm always looking out for and always sort of excited for. Just finished the new Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So played through all 3 of the Mass Effects again. Currently, it feels that the gaming industry is very much standing fucking still at the moment. Widget, how you doing? I'd have to look. I'm not even sure what first-person games are launching, to be fair. What games am I looking forward to? Like, what games are coming up that would be fun? Blue Fairy, Tasty Berries, how you doing? What's my favorite thing about World of Warcraft Shadowlands so far? I'm assuming outside of the lore, because obviously I love the lore. I always love the lore. Literally nothing else. The game has a bunch of potential. Shadowlands is, once again, as far as I'm concerned at least, it's one of those expansions where it's almost there, right? It's right there. You can have it. It's minor changes. Literally, Blizzard needs to step in and change a couple of things around. Perfect expansion. But every single time they talk about the things that they want to change around, it's not the things that needs to be changed. They keep fucking doubling down on just the same bullshit that's brought us here in the first place. And I just remember there's a game that, Wildboy, you actually told me about this game. Necromondo. It's launched, although the overall user reviews is mixed, so I'm gonna hold off on playing it for a while at least. GTA 6, Beyond Good and Evil, Far Cry 6, Hogwarts Legacy, definitely looking forward to that. Diablo 4, New World, I don't know what we will see. I expect more new announcements than release dates. Looks a bit poopy, sadly. It looked good when they announced it. It doesn't look good now. I'm very positive about the Mass Effect thing. I'm probably going to play Mass Effect again. You're going to have to give me time to figure out what new single player games are coming out. Because I genuinely don't know. I don't pay a whole lot of attention on single-player games. There's a couple of companies that I trust absolutely, and I know when their games come out. I guess the game that I'm most excited for currently would be Baldur's Gate 3. When it's finally finished, then I can actually play the full game from start to finish. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I've never been a Far Cry fan, so Far Cry 6 probably not going to be my type of game. Dying Light, wasn't a fan of the first one, probably not going to be a fan of the second one. Mikoto, how you doing? These are not my type of games. I think Ubisoft is a miserable company when it comes to game design. They use open world simply for the excuse of not actually having... They use open world as an excuse for you to make your own fun. So I don't like Ubisoft games. The last time Ubisoft made a half decent fucking game, as far as I'm concerned, was Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. Maybe 3 as well. Yeah, 3 was fine. Black Flag was number 3, right? Because Black Flag was the last time I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed. All of the others have been absolute dog shit. Later all, much love. Blue Fairy, thank you very much for coming to say hello. Really appreciate it. Black Flag was number 4. All right. Black Flag was fun. I can't remember number 3 now. I know number 1 and 2 was amazing. I loved the story of Ezio. And number 1 and 2 really had mystery to it, which just, I loved that. I loved the mystery that comes with it. AC Odyssey? See, I didn't like AC Odyssey. I have it, and I've played it here and there, but I've never been able to get into it at all. You love Charles, thank you for the follow. Really fucking appreciate that. Welcome to the channel, bro. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I must go and get ready for work. I will watch the discussion videos after I get off work. Good luck with the fast, and everyone have a good day. LBA Score, thank you for hanging out, dude. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, bro. For the Bloodlines 2, sadly it looks like it will be a few years late because a new studio has taken over the project. Valhalla was trash though. I think I played Valhalla as well and wasn't a fan. Tobacco and AC3 was the American Revolution. I just remember really loving the Ezio storyline. You know, back when Assassin's Creed was still, you had you in the real world, like the proper world as it is now, and then you would dive into your genetic structure and you would sort of see what your ancestors were. You had the whole Templars thing, you know, you had all of these like really interesting storylines that came with Assassin's Creed. And then Assassin's Creed became this open world nightmare that is just a bunch of bullshit from start to finish, where the story doesn't really matter because most of the game is just you doing the same shit over and over again until you get to max level or until you get to the level where the story continues. So yeah, not really my type of game. Also, I liked it when you were an actual fucking assassin. I remember in 1 and number 2 trying to figure out how to assassinate people without having to fight everyone else, right? Because you want to do the whole assassin things. You don't want to be seen. So you're sort of hanging overhead and following the guy to where he's sort of alone and you can maybe just quickly stab him and then leave. That was sort of the playstyle that I loved about Assassin's Creed. It's all died now for me. Assassin's Creed no longer does anything for me. Parascopic, how you doing, bro? The modern premise, I prefer the historical bent or pseudo history, really. Well, Parascopic, that's the whole the point that I'm trying to make is you had the real life, you know, modern day, but it was about diving into the history so that you could get the story of the modern day, right? That's what made it fun, because you felt like there was something real there. It's kind of funny that post-2010s PCs started being more multiplayer and consoles started being more about single player. Stanay, thank you for the tier 1 sub, dude. Really fucking appreciate that. 16 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stanay, how you doing, bro? It's the business model, right? That's sort of the it's one of the things that we can discuss within this entire topic for tonight. Someone said earlier, Jamalman, I believe it was you, that said that World of Warcraft should go back to fast and easy patches. You know, so every 3 months, 4 months, a new patch, not every 9 months to 11 months, which, by the way, is definitely not what they fucking want, right? It's definitely not Blizzard's plan to go to 9-11 month patch cycles. They're just behind. It's as simple as that. Shadowlands has more problems than what they can actually fix, and they're trying to delay the patch as much as possible to the point where they can fix at least some of the problems and hopefully get some of the players back, because it's been losing players. Players have been leaving. And I realize a lot of this might be anecdotal. We do have some actual evidence that World of Warcraft has lost players. About 2.5 months ago, we had the story that came out around 60% of the World of Warcraft subscription base have unsubscribed from the game, which a lot of people said, oh, that's normal, that's how video games work. Not quite. I mean, it's not supposed to be normal, right? Now, on the whole thing about patch cycles and how patch cycles are presented within World of Warcraft, I actually do not agree with Blizzard's philosophy around every 3 to 4 months there's a new patch. Because most of those patches, the only time this has worked was in Legion, when they spent the last year of Warlords of Draenor making patches for Legion. So they were ahead, right? Whenever patch 7.1 came out, they were already working on patch 7.2 or even 7.3 at that point, right? So they were ahead of the developing schedule. This is the only way that they can make it work, is if they're ahead and they can sort of put a lot of effort into it. It didn't work in BFA, and it's not working in Shadowlands now. I also, and this might make me very unpopular with a lot of people, and I want to know from you, chat, how many of you agree with this? I do not believe that we should get a new expansion every 2 years. I don't think Blizzard should put themselves in that box. I think that box, the 2 year expansion box, is the thing that's killing the game faster than anything else. Jenna, no. I would actually be okay with a new expansion every 3-4 years. I would argue that an expansion should be maintained as long as necessary until the next expansion is ready, and nothing should ever be rushed. The expansion should be so good. The expansion should be so good that you don't care about a new expansion. You're not getting tired of the content that you're doing, because all the content that is in the game, that's being put into the game, is fun and you enjoy going through it. You love getting into the leveling process, getting into the world exploration, doing dungeons, doing raids. Blizzard should bring back the one boss raids. I don't see why we're not getting it back. Like, why is Blizzard so hell-bent on massive dungeons and massive raids? Why not bring back the raids that had 2 or 3 bosses in them, right? Bring dungeons that only has 3 bosses in it. Things that people can do that's just fun, it's enjoyable, and people can really just spend their time playing the game that they want. Rather than this endless sort of fucking... this endless treadmill where it's just new content, new content, new content. The problem is, when's the last time that World of Warcraft actually had any new content? No, Torghast isn't new. Torghast is just Island Expeditions with a different fucking skin. It's as boring as Island Expeditions, so I'm assuming it's the same tech. They just put it in a fucking tower. Okay, so here's the problem. World of Warcraft's current business model exists around expansion releases. You can look at their charts. Every time a new expansion launches, Blizzard makes more money than they make any other time throughout those expansions. So Blizzard needs expansions in order to remain profitable. If you remove expansions from World of Warcraft, there is no money in World of Warcraft. Because this is what World of Warcraft does. It's dead, dead, dead. New expansion, fucking way up, right? And then 3 months later, dead, 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 right up until the end, just before the next expansion goes, and then pop, right back up there, making a bit of money. 3 months later, dead, 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 dead. So it goes from, it literally is like a heart rate monitor. It just goes up once every 2 years. It pops up to go, oh, I'm still alive, oh, I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm alive, I'm dead. The problem with that business model is it does not incentivize you to actually make expansions good. Because you're no longer focusing on trying to get players to play the game and also stick with the game. You would make so much more money if you could get 10 million people to play the game every month and not get tired of it. Right? Because there's always something new. It's so amazing to explore. The gameplay loops itself is very, very interesting and very exciting. That's how you make a good World of Warcraft game. The current model that Blizzard follows is one that basically they rely on these heart rate monitors to just sort of tick up and give them a big cash influx. The problem with that model is it's not going to be sustainable. How long before players start going, I'm not going to come back? How long before the next heart rate, the beat that you need, is half of what it was before? Because players just sort of go, yeah, I've heard all of these promises before, I'm done. Yeah, I'm not even going to waste my time. I can tell you now, I have a bunch of friends that hasn't bought a single World of Warcraft expansion since Legion. They bought Legion, they came back for about 2 months, stopped playing, they've not bought BFA, and they haven't bought Shadowlands, and their reasoning is, it's boring. There's no point. Blizzard keeps promising shit and it keeps getting just fucking boring. It's just more boredom. I'm not coming back. You lose enough players and eventually World of Warcraft is just no longer getting people back into the game. So here's what I think World of Warcraft should be doing. This is how I think you fix World of Warcraft. First and foremost, Blizzard needs to realize. Let me ask you guys this question. I asked it last week. I see there's a bunch of new faces in here, so I'll ask it again. Is the following statement true or false? You can make World of Warcraft, or any game really, where every single person that plays it loves every single thing in the game. It's possible to do that. Is that true or false? That statement. Is that a true or false statement? Alright, since everyone believes that it's false, can someone then explain to me why Blizzard keeps making the game for everyone? Can someone explain this to me? If every one of us, the plebs that don't make video games for a fucking living, understand that this is how gaming works, right? Some games, some people will like, some games other people will like. You will never get a game that everyone likes, right? This is just impossible. And even in a game that people like, right? Some people will like some things in the game. Other people will like other things in the game, but not everyone is going to like everything in the game. This is just basic fucking logic, right? Here's the problem with Blizzard Entertainment. They seem to think that they just need to convince the rest of us that we love the content that they make. So what Blizzard does whenever they step into a new game is they say, okay, hold up. We're going to make World Quest 2.0, not 1.0. The World Quest this time around is very different, of course. It doesn't even feel the same as the BFA ones. Copma. So you have World Quest, we're going to make World Quest. Then we're going to make Torghast. We're also going to make Mythic, Mythic Plus. We're also going to make Dungeons. We're also going to make PvP. And we're going to have Battlegrounds and Arenas and all the rest of it, right? We're going to make all of these things. But now, right, we're going to make all of these things interact with all of the other things. So we're going to actually force people to do some of the Torghast stuff. And we're going to force people to do the World Quest stuff. And we're going to force people to do this. And we're going to force people to do that. By the end of it, even if you don't like certain things in World of Warcraft too fucking bad, you must do them. This is the most stupid way of designing a video game in the history of ever. Because you're literally taking the statement, it is impossible to make a game where everyone will love everything in your game, and you're saying, hold my fucking beer. That's literally what Blizzard is doing. Someone tells them, hey, you can't make the game so that everyone will love it. And Ian goes, hold my fucking beer. And people go, bro, it's not working. No, they'll figure it out. Eventually, everyone will love everything that we make. The best way to protect yourself from this is to not force people into the different areas of your fucking game that they may or may not want to be in, right? Don't force your hardcore raiders and your hardcore PvPers into Torghast. There's no point. Don't force them into World Quest beyond a certain point. I remember a time, and maybe I'm just old and I remember things that most people have forgotten, but I remember a time where you would do daily quests only for like the first month, maybe 2 months if you were really slow at getting to Exalted. You only ever did daily quests up until Exalted. Once you reached Exalted, there was 0 point in daily quests. Some people would still do them for the gold that they would give, because at that point it was still hard to get gold. But the vast majority of players, you got to Exalted, you were done with daily quests. You never had to touch the daily quests again. There was nothing to push you into daily quests either, because they wouldn't offer you anything outside of just being daily quests that you've already done and you already have Exalted. And once you get Exalted, the faction vendor or the reputation vendor sells you everything that it has in stock, so you no longer need to do those dailies. I remember a time where you would do your dungeons to get to max geared for dungeons, and then you would just never do dungeons again outside of maybe doing the daily heroic to get your tokens, right? That's it. That was it. That was literally it. Once you got all of your dungeon gear, you were done. I remember a time where gearing was done. I remember times where your grind actually amounted to something. You had something that you wanted to grind for, and that something could be achieved. Nowadays, it's like you can reach the end of a grind for a single patch, but never for a single expansion. Because how much do you guys want to bet? In patch 9.1, you will once again have to do world quests. World quests are not going away. You've reached renown level 40. In patch 9.1, you're getting back into world quests again. So all of the grind that you did for patch 9.0, it's unnecessary. You're doing it again in 9.1. No. Mythic Plus is a whole different system, right? Again, it's a system that should be treated on its own. I, for example, and this might be a very unpopular opinion, but I am of the opinion that Mythic Plus gear, raiding gear, and PvP gear should not mix. This is literally the belief that I have. It should be gear for Mythic Plus is gear for Mythic Plus, and this is what Mythic Plus players need. Gear for raiding is gear for raiding, and this is what raiders need. Gear for PvP is gear for PvP, and that's what PvPers need. And they don't need gear from each other. If you want to do Mythic Plus, no problem. Go do Mythic Plus. Get the gear for it and do your Mythic Plus. Maybe you want to do some raids as well. Get your gear and go do some fucking raids. If you want to do PvP as well, go. Do it. No one is stopping you. But the gear should not mix. None of it should mix. It should be completely different games because it is completely different systems and it appeals to completely different players. Right? It appeals to different people. Gear could mix in Wrath of the Lich King, but it was sadly also a different time, right? In Wrath of the Lich King, the only thing you had was PvP and PvE, right? If you weren't PvPing and PvEing, there was nothing to do. World of Warcraft is no longer there. There's stuff for people to do. There's a lot of things for people to do. But you need to design these systems so that they're not mixed. They're not linked. None of these systems should be linked. The Grey, they shouldn't be worthless, but they shouldn't be the best. So, for example, if you're a hardcore Mythic Raider, you can do Mythic Plus 10 or Mythic Plus 12 fairly easily. It's not really a problem, but if you want to push keys, this is where you want to push into proper Mythic Plus gear, because the Mythic Plus gear is going to play to the strengths of Mythic Plus, right? You're gonna get gear that makes you godlike in Mythic Plus, that is gonna be useless for raiding, right? In Mythic Plus gear, you're gonna be able to do heroic bosses and some mythic bosses, but you won't be able to do all of the mythic raids or the final boss on mythic. For that, you would need raiding gear, because the raiding gear is going to turn you into a god inside a raid. And for PvP, the exact same thing. You can use your Mythic Plus gear or your raiding gear in PvP, and you'll be able to do some arenas, you'll be able to get some points, but you're not going to be a 2,400 Andy, right? That's not going to happen. For that, you would need PvP gear. That's how you're going to be really godlike in PvP. I don't get why Blizzard insists that this is a single game and that the game should be playable by everyone, when in reality, not everyone plays the fucking game, right? People don't play the game the same way. Why are you forcing people to play the game the same way? How would that work? What makes Mythic Plus gear or raid gear unique to them? Tier sets which activate only in that content. And you could do that, right? So you could have tier sets that only activate in specific types of content. You could even tie those tier sets to different affixes, right? So certain gear sets can counteract certain affixes, but it's only active when those affixes are available. So it really doesn't share, right? There's multiple ways of doing it. You could also just do a lower item level. So if you go with your Mythic Plus gear into a raid, the item level is always high as soon as you go into a raid. In a raid, the item level scales down because this is not raiding gear, this is Mythic Plus gear. which would feel horrible, and that's not actually the way that I would go with it, because whenever you play an RPG, you should never feel weaker just as a result, right? Weakness should not be the goal, but you should have things where you're stronger in certain instances because that's the content that you focus on most. Would they need 3 different impossible to get sets? No, it wouldn't be impossible to get. It would be sets that you can you can decide which sets you want, right? The problem I see with that is if you enjoy Mythic Plus and raiding, you have to grind both, which could be exhausting, but it wouldn't be a grind widget. That's the whole point. If you like the content, it's not a grind. I literally spent, how long did I play this? Hold up. I'm going to tell you guys in a second. Give me a moment. I just want to see. Give me a second. The EA beta thing takes a fucking age to log in. So I played Mass Effect. I spent about 102 hours finishing Mass Effect Legendary Edition 1, 2, and 3, right? I did that last week when I was ill and I couldn't speak. I spent 100 hours. Not a single minute of those 100 hours I would describe as a grind. Not a minute, not a single minute of those 100 hours I would describe as a grind that I wouldn't want to do again. In fact, I'm probably going to play the game again. The only time a grind is something that you do not want to do is when the grind itself is mindless and not fun. That's the only time. Fuck, there's games that I've spent, if you look at Oxygen Not Included. In Oxygen Not Included, I've spent, how long have I played this game? 224 hours that I've played Oxygen Not Included. Not a single minute of those 224 hours I would describe as a grind. Why not? The real hell is probably not. Then again, based on what I've heard from Final Fantasy, and I'm not saying that it's true because I'm talking to so many different people that I get a lot of mixed messaging. But in Final Fantasy, it appears to be you do whatever you like doing, and if you don't want to do something, there really is no need for you to do it. I will, however, use a game that I've played before and that I actually enjoy playing, ESO. If you want to do PvP in ESO, you don't have to go into the dungeons at all. You don't have to do the raids in ESO. You can just spend all your time in what's the fucking the PvP zone called again? Citadel. You can spend all your time in Citadel and never do anything else because that's all you want to do, right? If you want to do dungeons, you can do dungeons and that's all you want to do, and you can upgrade your gear to a rather high level using professions, right? And if you want to do raids, you can do the raids and no one's going to force you to do anything else. That's just the game. Because the game caters for various people that like different things, and it doesn't force people into things that they don't necessarily want to do. As I say, with Final Fantasy XIV, outside doing the main story, you can do whatever you like. This, to me, is the one thing that World of Warcraft is missing right now. It seems like Blizzard themselves think that they sort of imagine a world, and I genuinely believe this. Ian and the team imagines a world where they can create this almost perfect MMO where every single feature is loved by every single player. The reality is that's impossible. We've just discussed this. All of you just said it's false. You can't do that. So why are they trying? Right? Hobo Steve, how you doing? I do not do Elder Scrolls lore, mainly because I've not played any of the other Elder Scrolls games. I've never been a fan of Elder Scrolls. I like Elder Scrolls Online. But as for Skyrim, Morrowind, all of those, never liked them. Mainly because at the time, like the first time I tried it, I think was Morrowind or some shit like that, and it was first person, and I fucking despise first person Sword and Shield games. Don't know. Just fucking no. First person games should not be Sword and Shield. The only thing I love anymore is the lore. I unsubbed a bit ago. Mary, how you doing? You have no idea how often I read that now. It's something that makes me worried, right? As someone who makes a living talking about World of Warcraft. Now, on Twitch, we talk about World of Warcraft and a bunch of other stuff. So Twitch doesn't really struggle, right, as much. But as someone who makes a living on YouTube in World of Warcraft, I am worried. For the first time ever, I am worried. During BFA, I wasn't worried because I wasn't losing a whole lot of subs, and I wasn't getting a shit ton of people telling me they're done with the game. There were here and there were your negative Nellies who just don't like anything that comes out, and that's fine, right? But for the most part, people were okay. People were fine. Now, suddenly, it's as if... You see, and this is actually something I warned about. Even if I quit WoW, I'll still watch you. I really appreciate that. Balila is even going loose with the dick in the salad metaphor. Even Balila has lost his shit. I would say Balila not so much a red herring for me. Oh, red herring. What the fuck am I talking about? Balila is not so much a canary in the coal mine for me. Because Balila is always sort of... He's like me. During BFA, I criticized BFA for a lot of things, and Balila did the same. I would say the biggest thing for me is you now have people like Towley coming out and criticizing Blizzard for Shadowlands. You have people like Taliesin that is criticizing Shadowlands. Luna, how you doing? So, the fact of the matter is, when the shills, right? When the fucking shills are criticizing the game, you know there's a problem, and I mean that with all the love in the world. I'm not actually calling them out. Vizzy, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Really fucking appreciate that. How you doing, Vizzy? Same, I need my lore fix, and this is the only channel I like. Mary, I really appreciate that. I drink water one time and I can't stop coughing. See, water will kill you. To be honest, I don't watch you for the lore. It's like a bonus to me, but I watch your show because of you. You know, I really appreciate that. I'm good. Welcome from my nap. How are you? Vizzy, why a nap now? Balaptica, thank you for the follow. Really fucking appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honestly, I gave up on Shadowlands. I've been waiting for TBC Classic, but I love the lore of Shadowlands. You see, I don't play TBC. I played TBC when it was fucking current. I have no interest in playing TBC now. You had an active day. What did you do? Andy, I don't nap. So that would be why I asked the question. I haven't taken a nap in... since pre-primary school, I suppose. Maybe like early primary school may have been the last time I actually took a nap. Married to any one thought process or ideology, your speculation grows exponentially alongside your relationship with your viewers. That's why I'm here. Honestly, I really appreciate that. I just like the story and the possibilities. Back in 2010, I listened to Total Biscuit's Blue Please, and one thing he had, a segment of the illusion of choice. In 2021, there is no illusion anymore. There is no choice. Venetia Silver, much agreed. Very much agreed. I kind of fell out with the lore in Shadowlands. It started was exciting, but now I kind of don't care about the jailer as the big bad, etc. There's more to the jailer than you might think, Adam. I don't think he is the big bad of the Shadowlands. Not at all. But that's a discussion for a different day. So did I, but I don't give a Shadowlands systems on systems. No, fuck that. Fuck the systems. I still play Shadowlands, though. Just to be clear. Like I said, I played it last night. My Demon Hunter can now finally do heroic dungeons. So I'm probably going to do some heroic dungeons on the Demon Hunter. Sort of enjoying the Demon Hunter at the minute. Obviously, I'm playing far more Final Fantasy now than what I'm playing fucking World of Warcraft. But that's because I'm trying to do the video for Final Fantasy. Your face evil. Make evil face. Jada looks like a moody boy. He does, doesn't he? Completely different one that may even conflict the previous one a bit. It's all fun speculation. The Grey, that's the point, right? For all my speculation, I always say I'm not actually predicting the future. I'm not even trying. I'm looking at the lore and I'm sort of going, right, what would be fun? What would be a fun direction for the story to go in, right? And then I focus on that. And if that contradicts a previous theory that I had, then so fucking be it. It's still a fun direction for the story, you know? Do you tank or DPS in your Demon Hunter? I DPS, but I leveled my Demon Hunter solely for Torghast. I was watching... Who was I watching playing Demon Hunter? Someone was playing Demon Hunter. I can't remember who it was. It was on Twitch. Someone was playing Demon Hunter and they were in Torghast and it seemed fun. So I thought, fuck it, I'll level a Demon Hunter and I'll go do some Torghast with my Demon Hunter. The jail of something. I don't do anything else. I do some dungeons just for gear so that I can do, you know, my Torghast, but I don't do anything else. Honestly think we need an expansion where we basically lose, we don't win, and defeat the big bad's plans. It will be refreshing. So I actually have... It might have been Darker Oak, Luna. It may actually have been Darker Oak. It was one night after a live stream, and I think I hosted her right after the live stream, and I think she was playing her Demon Hunter at the time. So it may have been Darker Oak, actually. From this point of view, are they tossing a Loon in to bring people back, or is it going to be the storyline they follow? No, I don't think... So, I don't know where Blizzard is going with the story, and I don't know exactly why they're going with the story the way that they're going with it. My only hope is that they have enough time to finish the story, right, before the end of Shadowlands. Because I'm very afraid that we sort of get another BFA fiasco. I'm very, very saddened. Look, I just want to say, when it comes to Blizzard story writing, I've always said this, Blizzard as story writers suck dick. Blizzard cannot tell a story to save their lives. Look at Diablo. Look at literally every game that Blizzard have ever brought out. They are miserable at writing RPG storylines. Blizzard writes insane macro storylines. So when it comes to world building, so if you look at the world of Diablo, amazing, right? The macro lore of Diablo, absolutely insane. The problem is the RPG isn't there. There's no RPG in Blizzard storytelling. They don't seem to know how to do RPG. World of Warcraft is the same thing. How much of the actual... I'm not just talking about D3, Silver Carbon, I'm talking about all of them. Even if you go back into like Diablo 2, Diablo 3, the stories were amazing, right? The blueprint, actually, Terrible Presenters, amazing blueprinters. That's the perfect fucking word for it. The blueprints that Blizzard comes up with is insane. They can build a world that just feels so engaging and allows us to speculate. How many games do you guys know about that actually allows for speculation? Like, let's be real. Let's be very honest. How many games out there actually allows for speculators to exist? Holby, thank you for the 1 sub. Did really fucking appreciate it. 10 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To be fair, I would say Final Fantasy, the problem with Final Fantasy would be a lot of their stories end, right? So they pick up a story. What I'm talking about when I say speculation, right, is very specific. If a story starts and ends, there's literally no speculation that can happen within that story point because it's ended, right? Lots of games do an amazing job at that. That's RPG. Witcher, for example, is an amazing example of an RPG where you have choice, the story plays out, but the story does finish, right? There is an end point to the story. The quests have a natural conclusion to them. So while there's areas that you can sort of speculate on, the whole game is not speculative. Much of the game is done and dusted. It's told, it's over. Now move into something like World of Warcraft. Even with stories that Blizzard have sort of finished, the door always remains open. Blizzard almost never closes a story. So the world is open for speculation at all points in time. I love that, by the way, because, well, it's my job first and foremost, and I enjoy speculating about the story. The problem is that's horrible RPG storytelling. Because in an RPG, there must be an end, so that people know what the end is. You have to be able to take people on a journey, which again, Blizzard struggles to do. Because Blizzard, first and foremost, doesn't tell stories inside the game, right? Most of their stories are told inside the fucking books and the sort of epic cinematics. It's very little of it is told in the game. And even when it is in the game, it's sucky. My best example of sucky storytelling. How many of you remember just after you get to Venari, you're sort of spending time with Venari. Ambalam, thank you very much for this follow. Really fucking appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You get to Oribos, and one of the other brokers runs up to you and asks you about Venari. Right? How many of you remember that? Sort of way in the beginning of Shadowlands. If you cared about player choice, players would have had the option there to tell the broker about Venari, right? You don't even get that choice. The guy asks you about Venari, you then sort of answer him, and then the very next line, it says, you remember Venari telling you not to tell anyone else, and you do not have the ability to say, no, I will tell them about you. You just have to go with whatever Venari told you. So literally there is no player choice. There's no ability for the player to really engulf or engage with the game. To be fair though, you had the ability to join Sylvanas, and then you were sort of told that now that choice is done, even though most of us, most of the loyalists, looked at the conclusion of that and went, but I'm still on her side. That's literally how I felt when I saw the conclusion. I was like, yeah, well, fuck Sauerfang. I'm still on your side, Dark Lady. She's like, no, when next you see me, you will understand. No, but can't I just go with you now? No, your choice is over now. You can't follow me anymore. But I sort of feel like I want to. Right? No, you can't. You can't follow me now. I killed Sauerfang. It was horrible and miserable, and everyone is clearly angry with me now. Yeah, but we're not angry with you. The loyalists couldn't give two shits. In fact, if you gave me the option, I would have killed Sauerfang. Right? That's the problem with choice in World of Warcraft. There's no real reason to make a choice, because at the end of the day, the choice is always the same. The choice will always end the same. This is why Blizzard, to my mind, are horrible RPG storytellers. They really suck at RPG storytelling. I would say it's more than just the illusion of choice. Because it doesn't even feel like an illusion. You don't even feel like you are actually making a decision. I'll tell you what. I remember playing it on my Warlock. Yeah, and I had Azeroth Autopilot on my Warlock. And sadly, Azeroth Autopilot makes decisions on your behalf, because I was literally just trying to get through the story as quickly as humanly possible, because I had already played it multiple times. So I skipped it. The decision to follow Sylvanas and my Warlock, I made the other choice. Like, Azeroth Autopilot decided for me, no, we're going to follow Sauerfang instead. So I couldn't make that decision. So I opened a ticket, and I actually asked Blizzard, listen here, Could you maybe just revert this fucking choice? Because the add-on made the wrong choice for me. I don't want to follow Saurfang. I want to follow Sylvanas so my main. And Blizzard said, no, this is an important choice. We can't revert this. We can't revert this choice. And by the end of it, I was like, you couldn't revert that? What was important about this fucking choice? So, this was an important choice. We can't actually revert it. You've made your decision. Follow Saurfang now. To what end? Like, nothing happened. Nothing really changed. It was all the same. Because this is important and you made it by accident. Yeah. Basically, Blizzard in a fucking nutshell. I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical. Especially when it comes to the future of the story. So if we're talking about the future of World of Warcraft's story, let me be clear. I don't know how Shadowlands is going to play out. I have no idea. At this point, my best guess is that Elune is a massive secret that is going to be extremely important at some point down the line. I don't know exactly when, but Elune is going to be... she's going to be instrumental to the telling of this tale. There's a lot of things that's now being sort of starting to make sense to me the more we learn now. So, for example, do you guys remember Spires of Ascension? How many people have done Spires of Ascension or have done it enough times to remember the voice lines in Spire of Ascension from Davos? Devos. Devos explains to the Arbiter that the Arbiter is corrupt and short-sighted, right? And that she will replace the Arbiter. Keldana, how you doing, bro? She will replace the Arbiter, and then she will rebuild the Kyrian, right? This is Devos' explanation. But then Devos goes even further, and she says, as I listened to the jailer, and I learned about the great injustice you visited upon him. Now, at the time, we could sort of guess to what this great injustice could have been, but there was no real way of knowing, right? There was no real way of knowing. We just sort of took guesses as to what this injustice may or may not be. We now know. Now, the jailer, we could argue, is lying, and he's sort of just making shit up. But the better question, the more speculation-friendly question is, what if he isn't lying? The jailer himself, right, or at least they themselves, the Eternal Ones, tell us that they banished him because he sought forbidden knowledge. That's why they banished him to the Maw. To my mind, I don't see that as a banishable offense. To banish your own brother, who's simply asking questions, who's simply going, wait a second, what if all of this is bullshit? What if our roles in the universe is bullshit? To be banished for that. Now, of course, yes, he did try to take the keys through violence, but again, we get to what he's doing now. He had the opportunity to kill Carestia the Firstborn. He could have killed the Arbiter. Or the Archon, not the Arbiter, the Archon. Why didn't he? He could have killed the Primus. He didn't. He had the opportunity to kill the Winter Queen, and yet he didn't. So, yes, he wants the keys, and yes, he's using violence, but still he does not strike down his own brothers and sisters. He doesn't kill them. He simply claims the keys. Now, the question becomes, the keys to what? What is the keys that he's after? This is where we get to end time. How many of you remember the end time dungeon? How many of you did the end time dungeon? All right, you guys realize that every single thing that was predicted in the end time literally happened. Every single person read the end time wrong. The end time from day one, from the very beginning, shows Deathwing defeated. Deathwing is dead. And after Deathwing's death, a bunch of things transpire. A bunch of things happen. You have Jaina going sort of apeshit and losing her fucking mind. You have Tyrande losing her mind and going complete Night Warrior. You have Sylvanas, right? Now, with Sylvanas, this is actually very interesting because has Sylvanas actually happened yet? Because according to the dungeon journal for Sylvanas in the end time, now I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember off the top of my head, but according to the dungeon journal for Sylvanas, it's a fragment of hatred. She's restless. And because of this restlessness, she wishes to destroy all life. But it calls it very specifically a fragment. I'm trying to see... Apocalypse had the link for me to that message if I can fucking find it. Hopefully it's on his Google Drive. Hold up. There we go. These are notes. I want to get the specifics on Sylvanas. These are fucking notes. Not what I need right now. Anyways, I'll find it at some point. But it does. It's been a while since I ran it. Okay, so the end time dungeon shows that Deathwing is defeated. It then shows how Jaina, Tyrande, and Sylvanas becomes corrupted and lose themselves. And then after all of those are saved, because we save Jaina, we save Tyrande, and we ultimately save Sylvanas, right? Only then do we get the Morazon Nosdormu that starts to happen. Only then do we usher in the age of the Twilight Dragonflight, the Infinite Dragonflight. It's only then when the prophecy comes into fruition. Remember, there is a prophecy, right? To be down to hang out in Discord and talk about Final Fantasy. I'm going gym right after, but I'll probably be in Final Fantasy when I get back from the gym. So I'm first going gym, you know? So here's the thing. We've been warned about this for quite some time. The old gods warned us about this, and I have a video that is going out Friday about the old gods' warnings. But the old gods warned us about all of this. They made it very clear that we alone can stop you, right? There's no one else that can stop this. We are the only ones that can save you from this fate. The question becomes, what fate? What is Zuval actually after? What is he trying to unlock? Okay, brother, Squat Master. Enoch, I can't really tell you what time. We could probably say about 10 p.m. my time. So when I'll be in Final Fantasy, and I'll probably be in Discord then as well. Oh, there we go. Venetia, thank you very much. Spawned from shattered timeways and cloistered within the Ruby Dragonshire, a maddened fragment of the Forsaken's leader, Sylvanas Windrunner, waits restlessly. Having lost everything and unable to find peace, this tormented echo aches for a chance to unleash her dark fury at anything still living within these barren, time-twisted wastes. That is Sylvanas, right? That is the vision of Sylvanas. Now, we already have the sort of evidence, and I put that in massive quotation marks, the evidence that Blizzard is sort of alluding to at the minute, where Sylvanas is also fragmented, where her soul is fragmented. She has two parts, right? And it's what time for you now? Right now it's 20 minutes past 5. So at the end of all of this is the unleashing of the Hour of Twilight. The Hour of Twilight was never Deathwing's to bring. Just by the way. Deathwing was not the one who would bring the Hour of Twilight. In order for the Hour of Twilight to happen, Deathwing had to die. Because without Deathwing's death, the Hour of Twilight could never happen. End Time is all about the Hour of Twilight. It's all about bringing the Infinite Dragonflight into existence. It's all about opening the doorway. That's what the End Time is all about. I don't know if Elune will bring the Hour of Twilight. What is Twilight? The Eclipse of Dark and Light. So here's the problem with Elune. There is evidence right now within World of Warcraft where so first and foremost, we're uncovering more and more evidence. I'm not yet ready to make a video on this, but I will sort of mention it here. We're uncovering more and more evidence that Zuvul was at one point the master of the Pantheon of Death. He at one point did rule the Shadowlands. More and more evidence shows this. There's also evidence now that shows that Zuvul himself was the very first leader of Revendreth. If you read the Sinstones in Revendreth, it makes it very clear that Zuvul was the original creator of Revendreth. The very thing that controlled the flow of anima. That was the original purpose of Revendreth, was to control anima, the flow thereof, the sort of, shall we say, the supply lines of the Shadowlands is Revendreth. It's the base, the factory of the Shadowlands, if you will. It's how anima is pushed from one side to the other. So this is where things get rather interesting. The Harvester of Wrath, right, which is one of the... She, according to Prince Ranithal, was also created in the Shadowlands. They weren't souls who once existed. The biggest problem here, right, the biggest problem here is that the Harvester of Wrath worships Elune. Why? Currently, all that evidence that points to Zuvul being the original creator of the Shadowlands or of Revendreth, it actually... How do we put this? It enforces the idea that Zuvul was the leader of the Eternal Ones, much like Aman'Thul is the leader of the Pantheon of Order, or Pantheon of Life, depending on how you want to look at it. Right? Aman'Thul is the leader. He makes the decisions based on, based on the vision or the purpose that he follows. The problem is that if you read the Sinstones from Revendreth, only one character or NPC or entity comes out as the possible original Lord of Dread. However, this was before Revendreth became the Land of Dread. Think about everything that Revendreth stands for. Everything. The whole point of Ravendwraith is... Anyone in chat? What is the point of Ravendwraith? It's about redemption, yes. But it's about harvesting sin. It's about taking the sins upon oneself. It's literally the story of Jesus in the Bible. Upon the cross, he took the sins of humanity upon himself and died so as those sins would now forever be forgotten. This is the role of Ravendwraith within the system. It takes the sins of the denizens of Ravendwraith upon itself, and it allows them to atone. It's a balancing act. It's to ensure balance throughout the Shadowlands. It's one of the things that they talk about a lot, overcoming arrogance, overcoming greed. In other words, be balanced in all things. Which creature or character do we know of that is hyper obsessed with balance? Or at least as far as we can tell. Elune. Elune escaped when Zuval tried to steal. Well, Ian, yes, but Ian is a whole different entity. Ian's balance never works out. It's not the same as Elune's. So the problem with Elune, the biggest problem with the Ravendwraith storyline at the moment is that Elune stands out as the original master of Ravendwraith, and she escaped when Zuval turned on them. When Zuval started to question the purpose. Because here's another thing. Devos calls the purpose corrupt. She says to Carestia, in Spires of Ascension, we worship a corrupt purpose. She calls it corrupt. Those words most likely come from Zuval. He's the one who views this as a corrupt entity. To what end? I agree with you, Obo Steve. 100% agree with you. I do believe that the purpose is an actual entity. It's an actual being. I don't know where that being comes from or what that being is a part of, but I do believe that that being is called the purpose. That being is the one that sort of subverted or sort of made the Shadowlands to serve, if that makes sense. At least that's my belief currently as things stand. Why Elune would flee so far is another question entirely. I don't understand why she would flee as far as she did. Why she would feel that just going to a different place within the Shadowlands wasn't enough. Why, to her mind, she had to leave the Shadowlands in order to be safe. This I don't quite get. But it could also have something to do with the fact that she herself doesn't necessarily agree with what they did to Zuval. Right? That's entirely possible. That is entirely possible. That she herself does not agree with what was done to Zuval. And that is why she left. She didn't agree with what he did, but she also maybe thought that what they did to him was a little bit over the top, if you will. The whole Shadowlands just seems like it would be a terrible fate, no matter where you end up. True. Total Mythology says that Musha and Anshe were birthed at once. So, Venetia, the problem that I have currently with Anshe, with basically everything within the Tauren story, is it feels like it's sort of a copy of the Night Elf story. Just applying different sort of, shall we say, different sort of entities to it. Which could have been a cultural thing, because we have that in the past. Right? If you look at, for example, the If you look at, for example, you had the Greeks, and then the Greek gods were sort of just taken over by the Roman gods with changes happening here and there, right? So at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that there's, at this point, I don't necessarily think at this point there is enough evidence to sort of try and figure out if the Tauren actually worship something different than what the Night Elves do. Because, to be fair, it feels as if Blizzard themselves have forgotten about the Tauren. The Shadowlands would have been the perfect time for the Tauren's history and sort of culture to be explored. And yet, it feels as if Blizzard just completely forgot that the Tauren even exist. I mean, they made Bane the leader of the fucking Tauren, the biggest crybaby in the history of World of Warcraft. I mean, this guy sits on the steps of Erebos and just cries, even though he was the first to be saved. He did fuck all until the girls arrived. Like, literally, worst role model ever for men anywhere is Bane. Thrall is a fucking close second, to be quite frank. Because the ladies are doing everything. I feel sorry for old Bolvar, because he's just being bullied by all the girls. But it's literally all the girls are doing everything, and the two guys there are just sat on the fucking stairs, just doing nothing. It's insane, right? It's literally just horrible to watch. So yeah, I wish Blizzard would spend more time, because the Tauren story is extremely interesting. And I wish Blizzard would spend more time actually focusing on the Tauren story, if you will. It's not so much that I don't really give a shit about it, Parascopic. I don't know what the girls did to deserve it, though. Like, what did the girls do to deserve that? I mean, if you're saying they deserve it, that they do something more special than Thrall and Bane after Sylvanas, you'd be a manlier man than Bane. True. It's like I said earlier, Bane is a big part of it. Blizz turned Horde into Red Alliance. I really dislike the Horde being the Horde. Okay, so I personally, in terms of if we start talking about, because that's Crash the Fool, that's a good starting point for the next discussion that I want to have. When it comes to the future of World of Warcraft, where would you like to see things go in the next expansion? Chat. What would you guys like to see next? It's still technically tied to Medivh, Venetia, because Khadgar never actually accepted the role as Guardian. Bina Mike, how you doing, bro? So, I personally, Rhinostain, I see what you did there. We need another expansion, or we need an expansion that restores faction pride, that restores player pride, that restores game pride in many ways. Someone on Reddit actually made a very interesting point. We need the MCU Civil War. That's what World of Warcraft needs. It needs that sort of Civil War moment. I don't know how many of you have watched the Marvel Avengers Civil War. How many watched that movie? Brilliant movie. What do you consider factions, though? Horde and Alliance, or specific race factions? I'm considering all of them. Andy, Kors, how you doing, bro? So here's my problem currently with World of Warcraft. I don't see myself as part of anyone. I used to be very proud of being an Orc, and as a result of being an Orc, I was very proud of being a Horde. And as a result of being a Horde, I hated the Alliance. I no longer give a shit about being an orc. I don't really know who the Horde really would be at this point, and I couldn't give two fucks about the Alliance. That's not a good place to be if you want a faction-based MMO. Now, just to be clear, we do not need another BFA. BFA did a miserable job. I always get so angry whenever people point to past expansions and go, "Bro, clearly we don't need that. Look at what happened there." For example, whenever I say we need player housing, I will always have one idiot going, "Oh my god, remember garrisons? Yeah, that fucking worked. Fuck player housing." And it's like, bro, in the history of gaming anywhere, in any period of time, there has never been a worse designed system than garrisons. Never. The guy who designed garrisons should have been fired, and probably was fired, literally the day that he invented it. Garrisons is a miserable example of player housing. BFA is a miserable example of how to restore player pride in their factions, in their race, in where they are. We need an expansion that goes back to the basics. And in order to get back to those basics, we need an expansion that explores some kind of civil war. And when I say civil war, I'm not talking about the Alliance coming to help out the fucking Horde. No. I'm talking about the Alliance fighting to keep the Alliance, the Horde fighting to keep the Horde. And then, of course, as they will always do, both factions seeing some kind of in to try and take each other out, right? Because why not? There's resources everywhere. So you have these two factions fighting it out against each other, trying to get resources, but also in bitter war with one another. And here is what I actually believe to be the biggest requirement in the history of World of Warcraft ever. Faction restrictions can no longer fucking exist. Faction restrictions is the worst idea Blizzard have ever had. Ever. It's old and it should no longer exist. Give me 2 seconds. The racial... The racial restrictions that we have currently within World of Warcraft makes zero sense, and it complicates the story unnecessarily. It makes the story unnecessarily complicated. Because how many people here is Horde or Alliance but actually feel like you agree with the other faction a little bit more? Or how many people just feel a little bit disenfranchised with their faction? Factions should be based on ideological choice. That's what the end of the Civil War should be. The end of the Civil War should be, if you're a troll and you agree more with where the Alliance lands, then you join the Alliance. If you're a human, but you agree more with where the Horde lands, then you join the Horde. Now I hear a lot of people immediately going, "Bro, think about the guilds. Think about how much shit that's going to cause for the guilds." I don't care. Some of the worst decisions Blizzard have ever made was the result of Blizzard giving a fuck about destroying the game short term for a group of people. And I'll go back to things like Connected Realms. Back when we had realm mergers and Connected Realms and sort of, you know, different battle groups being drawn up, I think every single person that is honest with themselves will agree that the thing that destroyed realm pride, so the idea of this is my realm and I am on this realm and I know people on my realm, has been Connected Realms. Having Connected Realms has meant that you don't need to give a shit about your realm because you don't know anyone on your realm. There is no realm identity anymore because the realms are connected. I remember playing on Kazakh back in the day where you knew who the fucking idiots on the realm were. You knew who the ninja looters were. You knew who the bad raid leaders were, who the bad raiders were. You just knew it because, well, you played with these people almost every single fucking day. So how could you not know? Blizzard decided to do realm connections where the realms would simply now be connected and they would be sort of cross-realm because they thought if we, and I remember them actually saying it in a blue post at the time, the reason they can't merge these realms, right? The reason they couldn't merge these realms was because they didn't want to destroy like player names and server economies, because it would have had a very negative impact for a short time on server economies. And then they said, well, and also player names. So if you have a name and someone else on your server, the server that merges with you has your same name, then you're gonna lose your name, because what are we gonna do? The problem is cross-realm have led to so many other fucking problems, right? So many other problems. LFR, looking for group. All of these systems were implemented to fix other problems that Blizzard themselves have created. These problems were created by Blizzard, and then the fixes were applied to sort of stem the bleeding from the problems initially. They could have added surnames, of course they could have. Crash the Fool. There's so many things that they could have added if they really wanted to. Of course, they ended up not doing any of those, and they ended up going with the worst possible decision. I don't care if half of your guild decides to go to the Alliance, but you were always Horde. Because here's the thing, you will get more people into your guild. You can fix your guild. But opening up the factions to the point where people choose their faction based on what they agree or disagree with is a far better way of telling the story and treating the story than what Blizzard is currently doing. Because the way the story is presenting itself right now makes zero sense, and it leaves a lot of players who maybe like one group over another, or might have joined the Horde for one specific reason, or joined the Alliance for another specific reason. Most of us are just, we no longer remember why we joined the faction that we joined. In fact, the vast majority of people I hear, whenever they say why they joined a specific faction, had something to do with the race, not the faction. Right? I chose Horde right at the beginning because I love the Horde. I love the Orcs, and the Orcs was sort of what the Horde was. And therefore, I joined the Horde and I fell in love with the Horde. I love all of the Horde races because of that love for the Horde. I didn't like the Alliance because the Alliance didn't represent what I believed is fun. Right? That's not how I want to play the game. That's not the group that I want to be a part of. Nowadays, whenever I talk to people and ask, can I ask how many of you here joined your faction for the faction, and how many people joined it for the race within the faction? Alright, so then why the fuck are we still doing this whole faction thing? Why are we still doing this whole faction thing that's limited to one specific faction per race? When everyone here chose it based on their race, shouldn't you be allowed to choose your race based on what you want to choose, but then later on get the opportunity to choose your faction based on what you believe? Bowman, no one can cry about false pride. I have enough evidence over the course of the last 4 years of streaming and fucking making videos that shows that people don't give a shit about faction pride. The vast majority of people don't even know what faction pride means. And this is just evidenced by the fact that so many people believe the Alliance have clean hands and the Alliance have never killed anyone. I joined it first because all my friends were Horde. Race, but I have zero loyalty to any of the factions, maybe except Revendreth. But Revendreth isn't really a faction, XX. Race, because I don't see a difference between factions anymore. Sandman, how you doing, bro? I'm only Alliance because of my guild. You see, my belief is that you should be able to choose the faction that you want to go to based on your personal beliefs and how it aligns best with those. Basically, look at it as covenants without player power. If you remove the player power from covenants, how many people you would have made a different decision on the covenant that they joined? That's actually an interesting question that I want all of you. How many of you would have chosen a different covenant if there were no player power tied to the covenants? So basically, how many of you are in a covenant that you didn't originally want to be a part of? Atronave, how you doing, bro? You can't remain neutral, no, because World of Warcraft is at its core a game about factions. Covenant I wanted, got lucky with player power. Blizzard has consistently gotten the Horde wrong on what it represents. Just look at how they describe it from the Pandarian perspective. I can play any of the Covenants because the power for my spec is about equal, so no change. I'm in the Covenant I aligned with, me, instantly. I'm Odraxis because I play an Undead Unholy DK. I would have immediately changed. You see, the thing is, that's what factions should be. No player power tied to it. You choose the faction based on the inherent story qualities that you agree with and align with within the faction. Now, in order for that to happen, obviously you need a lot more focus placed on the storytelling of these factions and also on the beliefs of these factions. The Horde used to be bloodthirsty, warmongering, sort of savages, right? That's what we were. And that's why you joined the Horde. Because we had to stand together. We had to become hard. We had to embrace war in order to survive. That needs to be reinforced. You need to have that. That needs to come back. The Alliance again had their loyalties and their honor. Well, not honor so much as it is loyalty, justice, the light. This was something that was very big within the Alliance, right? The adherence to the light and to the rules, so to speak, of their sacred tenets, if you will. And these were things that set both of these factions on a path that allowed you to make a choice. Now, there's more to it, and we could probably spend an hour talking about the differences between the Horde and the Alliance of the originals. Don't want to go into all of it because it's basically a boring conversation for anyone that knows it. But at the end of the day, the factions had a reason for existing, and you made your decision on the faction that you wanted to join because you agreed or disagreed with one or the other faction. Nowadays, those reasons no longer exist, so we need something new. We need Blizzard to reassert those, but then give players the opportunity to leave that faction if they no longer agree with the new vision of said faction. How many people agree or disagree with what I just said? Alder and Scryers, in my opinion, is one of the best examples of Blizzard doing it right. It's just sad that almost everything that Blizzard does right these days feel like it's old. Does Orc, thank you for the $10, dude. Really fucking appreciate that. And I agree with you. Well, for me, the Horde was I made my decision on joining the Horde long before World of Warcraft was even a thing. Why was it horrible, Andy? By the way, could you guys hear the message from Dusthawk? Is it loud enough? Just want to make sure that it's loud enough that you guys can actually hear it, because if someone is donating $10, then they deserve their message read out. Couldn't hear it over the music. The fuck is going on? Put it a little bit louder, see if this works.
I originally joined the Horde as undead because if the overall idea is
How's
these
that?
races banded together because they had no other choice, the Alliance disliked them and they at least survived in Azeroth with the other misfits that didn't fit in.
Alright. Alright. Dusthawk, thank you very much for $10, dude. Really fucking appreciate that. I do apologize that it was so quiet. I don't know why it was so quiet. If it was up to you and faction was a choice, how would you do it and limit it so players don't go back and forth willy-nilly? The Grey, it's a single choice. It's a choice that you make throughout the questing experience, right? So when you hit level 60 or level 50, you get faced with a massive quest line. At the end of this quest line, you get a decision. Once you've made the decision to join the Horde or the Alliance, there's no changing that. You've made your decision. There's no going back and saying, oh, I changed my mind. No. You are now this faction. If you don't want to be this faction, level a new fucking character. The decision is final. So I don't agree with all these, let's make it easier for players. By the way, I'm a huge disbeliever in things like player convenience. I don't believe that player convenience should exist in any game. What convenience? The second you need convenience for players, it means that your game is fundamentally badly fucking designed. Because if you have to make it convenient for me to play your game, then why did you make the game inconvenient to play in the first place? Right? It makes no fucking sense. Because that's the only time you need to make things convenient for players, is if you made the game actively inconvenient for players. For example, when people talk about catch-up mechanics, it's like, what are you talking about? Catch-up mechanics shouldn't exist. It never existed. There was, like, prior to fucking Mist of Pandaria, you had no catch-up mechanics. The catch-up mechanics was spam dungeons as much as possible to get the gear to go raid. Your catch-up mechanic was literally you going as hardcore as possible so that you could get into the raid eventually, right? There was no catch-up mechanics. Catch-up mechanics exist only because the game is so fucking fundamentally mind-bogglingly boring that no one wants to do it twice on an alt. So basically the factions of Scryers and Aldor are opposites, and in an MMO game which you should naturally want to play with like-minded people, you'd naturally want to do the content with them. For Aldor and Scryers, the long-term power choices limited you to that faction for that spec. Even if you didn't look at power, the problem remains. As you progress with them in reputation, you go opposite for the other faction until you reach hostile with your own friends. Can't fit the rest. Well, you could change if you wanted to, if you made the wrong decision. So going to grow up into the Void Shadow or Light faction, oh, I fucking love that. The Itching had the badges for the tournament as catch-up. Fluxlord, but that was literally at the end of the expansion, which is a whole different story, right? At that point, people are sort of fucking around and sort of trying to get to, just trying to get to max level so that they can do, it's at the end. We now have expansions that launched, Shadowlands literally launched with catch-up mechanics. Like, before the game even came out, Blizzard admitted, oh, this is a fucking very boring game, guys. We do apologize. We're going to give you some catch-up mechanics to ensure that you don't have to do this twice on every single fucking character. Right? It's a balancing act that can be easily overdone. I think it makes sense because in 2004, the player base were mainly in their teens, early adult life with tons of time. Fast forward to today, the lives of those players have changed and they have a lot less time to dedicate to the game. That's bullshit, Mike. That is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. I genuinely do not agree with a single word you just said there. A game? Why do you play games? Everyone in chat right now. Why do you play video games? To legally commit war crimes. Fun, entertainment. So if a game is fun and entertaining, then you're getting what you paid for, right? Let me give you an example. There is 0 catch-up mechanics in Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3. I loved playing every moment of it. There was no catch-up mechanics. It's just a game. There's 0 catch-up mechanics in Witcher 3. Loved playing it. Absolutely amazing time. Literally, the journey was fun. That was the most fun part of the game, was the journey getting there. If you need catch-up mechanics in your game, it means that your game is fundamentally fucking broken. Because it means that the journey of getting to max level is so mind-bogglingly boring that no one wants to do it. And you can't here come at me and say, oh, but those are single-player games. It doesn't matter. You can make an MMO that is just as fucking fun to play, literally to play, without having catch-up mechanics. Because if what's fun is doing the dungeons to get the gear, then you don't have to rush people through the dungeons. They're already having fun in the dungeons. They're already having fun. What are you complaining about? Oh, I can't catch up fast enough to get to the final raid. You're already having fun. Why are you complaining? If you're not having fun, go play a different fucking game. There was no catch-up mechanics in TBC. People weren't complaining. In fact, TBC was probably the worst of them all in terms of offenders. You know what you had? You had guilds for every single tier in TBC. Every single tier, every single raid tier had its guilds that literally only did that raid tier. And how did you go up to finally get to Black Temple and all of the other raids? Well, you joined every single one of those guilds and you made your way through it. You attuned yourself to every single raid and you got there. Did you complain? No, you had fun while you were doing it. So maybe you only had 3 hours. So what? You were having fun in those 3 hours, doing a raid and attuning yourself, getting the gear. You had fun doing it. At the end of the day, it's about fun. People don't have to be max level. People don't have to do the max level content if all the other content is already fun. Good enough to get to further tiers, but no one just sat in the same tier because they wanted to. The grey not being good enough, and that's literally neither here nor there. If you were a good enough player, you had guilds on every single tier. That's the point I'm making. If you were a good player, you had guilds that you could... I know because my friend actually started late in TBC, and he managed to get all the way up to Black Temple by guild hopping throughout all the guilds that weren't good enough to get there. And those guilds understood. Nothing we can fucking do, right? Well, if you're not guild hopping, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if you really want to get to max level content, guild hopping is the way to do it.
I don't agree with the idea of every person in one faction wants to kill every person in the other faction and cannot be friends with them. I think this does not make sense in lore. If an Alliance mage and a Horde mage studies magic in Dylaran and fought against the Legion yesterday, it makes no sense why they would kill each other tomorrow.
Thank you much for the 100 bits, but you're literally explaining a problem that was created by Blizzard, not a problem that should exist, to be fair. Blizzard created this problem because they keep forcing us to play together, but then telling us we're enemies. What I'm talking about is a full reset. None of this bullshit of us standing together to stop threats. No. We'll fight individually to stop threats. We are enemies, right? At the end of the day, we are enemies. We are not friends of one another. We do not agree with each other. We want to kill each other. That was in the TBC. We had hit every raid tier. Most people play with their friends and people they meet. I raided with the exact same guild from Wrath through Mob. The great, but that's your choice. You can play like that. Sophia, thank you so much for the 5 community subs. Really fucking appreciate that. Thank you. Can we get some love in chat for Sophia? There's at least 5 of you that currently have gifted subs that can use some of those emotes to say thank you. So I really appreciate that, Sophia. It's all about your choice. This is what I think a lot of you don't get. You should be allowed to choose how you want to play the game. But you having a job that means that you only have 3 hours a night is no excuse for the game being boring as fuck. It's not an excuse. Also, have you ever asked yourself, why is Blizzard one of the games that struggles to get new people into the game? Because it's not fun for new players. The only people that is sticking with Blizzard are people that's been with Blizzard through thick and thin. That has just always been there. And they keep hanging on. All of us, myself included, we keep hanging on to this idea that one day everything will be good again. New players don't put up with this shit. You want to know something? Based on what player feedback I get? If Final Fantasy, and I will say this for now, if Final Fantasy decided tomorrow to fix their 1 to 50 experience, Blizzard is done. World of Warcraft is dead. If tomorrow Yoshi P came out and he fixed the entire 1 to 50 experience for Final Fantasy, WoW's done. The only problem with Final Fantasy is most people, like myself, struggle to convince themselves to play through fucking 50 levels just to get to the fun part of the game. Which is why World of Warcraft still works, because it's more fun early on than Final Fantasy as well. Final Fantasy is a fucking drag for the first 50 levels. But if Final Fantasy fixed that, based on the feedback that I'm getting from players that play Final Fantasy, everyone loves it. I'm yet to meet someone that plays Final Fantasy full time that bashes the game. People fucking love Final Fantasy. They enjoy everything that Square Enix brings them. Every time Square Enix brings out a new expansion, people love every single thing that those expansions add to the game. World of Warcraft is the only one where every single expansion we seem to get more and more disenfranchised with the expansion. WoW is not nearly as much of a drag though. Believe me, if you've played Final Fantasy the first 50 levels, you will understand what a fucking drag is. Midget children, that's what stops me playing Final Fantasy. Sorry, Bane. Look. When you're playing a video game, you're playing it for entertainment and fun. If the journey in the video game is entertaining and fun, then you shouldn't need catch-up. Now, am I saying that there should not be any catch-up in a video game? Of course not. There's nothing wrong with having catch-up in order to get people that just sort of want to skip a lot of the content and get to the content that they want to do. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is when players actively refuse to play when it doesn't exist. When people complain about the fact that it doesn't exist, because everything that they have to do fucking sucks. People who don't feel attracted to Final Fantasy aesthetic and stick to WoW may flee to Riot's MMO, myself included, if Blizz keeps failing. That's the problem then. You need to let creatives have freedom. I don't even know if it's a creative problem. I don't know. I don't know who to blame for this. Because honestly, I don't know if you can blame Activision for this. Activision wants to make money, which is what companies should be wanting to do, right? Companies want to make money. If Blizzard decides to do something that makes Activision more money, Activision isn't going to complain about it. So I don't know how much of this is really on Activision's shoulders. Like, how much of this can we actually blame on Activision? Don't get me wrong, Bobby Kotick can go suck a dick, but I still don't know how much I can blame Bobby Kotick for this bullshit. Swatter had a setup like that. I've never been able to get into Swatter though. Like, I'm busy going through Final Fantasy as we speak. Not as we speak, obviously, but you know, I am going through Final Fantasy. I've tried getting into Swatter, and it's never gripped me. If you guys want, I'll do a first impressions on on Swatter as well. Mary, I agree with what you said there. We don't know. There might be one guy coming to Death Meeting saying, okay, now make it doable. Only once a week, so they play longer. This feature has to be time-gated, etc. True, it's possible, right? Anything is possible. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know how much of this can actually be blamed on Activision. And I'll say this. Destiny sort of blamed all of their problems on Activision. And then Destiny just became as big of a fuck-up as Activision. So at the end of the day, was this really Activision or was it just Destiny? The front line to lead developer communication is Blizzard is relevant at all. No fucking way every death on the project and every person who codes the game doesn't see the obvious design problems. You think so, Andy? Because based on their response to every single fucking problem, they don't have a clue. Based on how they think they should fix every single problem, it feels like they don't have a fucking clue. I don't want dailies. Oh, actually, here's the thing. I have no problem with world quests. None whatsoever. World quest is absolutely fine. Grind is part of the game. To grind is part of the game, but it should go back to what it was in earlier expansions. The only character I would ever have grinded every single world quest on was my main, because I wanted all of my reputations at Exalted. On all of my alts, I would only grind the reputations that was required for the things that I wanted. So if one of them had a reputation vendor that sold, say, blacksmithing recipes at fucking Exalted or at Revered, I would grind until Revered with that specific reputation. And then once I have it, I'm done. I'm not doing all of them. Fuck that. I don't need all of them. I just need this one for my reputation, for my blacksmithing recipes. There should be an end. World Quest should exist only to the point where you get exalted with the given faction that you're doing the World Quest for, and then they're done. Never to be fucking done again. They're over. That's what a grind is all about. People constantly love saying things like, oh, so you just don't want to grind. The whole point of a grind is that it has an end. No game exists where the grind is fucking forever. That, at that point, isn't a grind, it's a job. You have to stop paying me, right? At that point, Blizzard needs to pay me to play their game because I'm doing a job now at this point. A grind is a grind because you're grinding towards something. Currently within World of Warcraft, you're grinding towards fuck all. You're grinding literally every patch. The grind resets and you just keep doing it again. They have a clue. They just have a very stringent view on how the players should play. They don't care what the players actually want. Stylen, how you doing, bro? I genuinely think it comes down to Blizzard believes that they believe that if they can balance the game, people will love every single element of the game, which is not how it works. We just discussed this a little bit earlier. No one is going to love every single system that you put into the game. So the only way you can save yourself from the predictable outcry from players is to not force people to do every single thing in your fucking game. Our Moose, thank you for still on update. Really fucking appreciate that. 20 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't remember who said this, but it was said, you don't play WoW, WoW plays you. So true. Well, some people have quit. So for some people, that's no longer the truth. Truffle Shuffle, I feel ya. I'm not tired of the systems. The systems should exist. There should be more systems. In fact, I could see a world where you have an expansion with the Mage Tower, Island Expeditions, Torghast, World Quests, all of those systems literally in one expansion. But you're not forced into any of them. They're all for fun. They're just there to give you cosmetics for aesthetic value. They don't give player power. They're not tied to power. They don't force you to be a part of them. You can do them if you want to, and you don't have to if you don't, right? Because that immediately fixes the problems with the system. Torghast was fixed by Blizzard because it was tied to fucking player power. You see, you can't make a thing too hard if every single player in the game has to do it. Because then some people won't be able to do it and they will QQ. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to move in and make it easier so that everyone can do it because there's player power. But imagine if Torghast had no player power. You could make Torghast the hardest fucking achievement in the history of World of Warcraft. You could make it harder than the Mage Tower for some classes. You could really push the boundaries, and if people can't do it, that's their fucking problem. There's no player power there. It's just an experience where you have to figure out how to do it. You'd have so much more fucking freedom. It's why I kind of enjoyed it in the beta when it was infinite. The problem with the beta one was exactly that. Because it was tied to player power, Blizzard could not justify players spending 4 or 5 hours trying to unlock everything within the run. So they had to limit it. Player power has been the bane of World of Warcraft's existence, and Blizzard seems obsessed with fucking shoehorning player power into every crevice that World of Warcraft has. What do you mean, why would they have to justify it? That word, tied to WoW, in a long time. For me, the borrow power just really takes a lot of the desire to play from me. My character never gets stronger. What's the point? If it's fun, it's fun. Do it. Andy. Oh, are you talking to someone else? Because I imagine you and I are saying the exact same thing. Because that's my point. You don't need justification for any system if the system itself is fun. If the system is fun, you don't need to justify it. You do not need to give players gear or power or anything like that. People are just going to do it. The point I've made before, and the point I'll make again here, is if you start thinking about your game and your starting point is what rewards do we want to give players, you've already fucked up. Reward should be the last thing you think about. It should be what is the fun element that we want to introduce? What is the systems that we want players to experience? Or we want them to do Torghast. We want them to do world quests. We want them to do dungeons and raids. Okay, let's make these things so fun that people just want to do them. And then once they're so fun that people just want to do them, now you go and say, okay, how do we reward players now? Just as a sort of cherry on top, how do we give them something for the fun that they just had, right? That's how you design a game from my perspective. You design it by thinking about the fun first, the content first, the rewards later. In World of Warcraft, Blizzard usually, this is what I imagine Blizzard's new expansions look like, right? I imagine this is what a new expansion looks like. So Ian and the team sits around the table and then they go, right, boys, for the next expansion, what rewards are we going to offer players? And they come up with a whole bunch of things, right? We're going to do we're going to do some artifacts, and we're going to do some legendaries, and we're going to do some Azerite powers, and we're going to do some fucking Covenant shit. We're going to do all of these things. All right. Now, how do we sort of gate these so the people don't just get it? You know, how do we gate these so the people actually keep playing and keep playing and keep playing and keep playing so that they never stop playing and they because they have to unlock all of these rewards that we're giving them? And then they're like, well, you know, we could maybe throw something like a fucking Torghast in there. Yeah, but remember, if we're going to do Torghast and we want to give players legendaries, and now Torghast is going to be the way to get legendaries, we can't make it too hard for players because, you know, that's going to mean that some players can't do it. Yeah, but really, this is sort of based on roguelite, so it should be hard. Yeah, but if we make it too hard, players won't be able to do it. But then it's no longer roguelite. We don't care. We just need something to sort of justify the reward. Oh, in that case, fuck it. We'll just make it as boring as humanly possible. Now we need world quests. What do we need world quests for? Well, Covenant leveling abilities. All right. So are we going to do some really cool, fun world quests? No. That's going to take too long. Just do like 40 fucking general world quests and then you do it, right? If you are gating your content, you don't have enough content. DSR, I agree. I just want to be a proud Tauren. I miss when someone could be skilled at a class and just better than someone before they dumbed everything down and every tank had something they could do better than other tanks. Some people were just better than me and that was okay. It gave me something to strive for, to be better. I remember that. I remember playing in groups where I'd play against other warlocks and they would absolutely destroy me. And then I would spend time on the forums looking over their gear, looking over their stats, trying to figure out what are they doing that I'm not doing. How do I get better? The real is yes. But evergreen systems will not work as long as Blizzard has this mindset of rewards first, content later. Evergreen systems will only work if Blizzard's mindset, their philosophy changes. And this is the thing that scares me to fucking death. I don't know if Blizzard's philosophy is ever going to change. Because every single time Blizzard does an interview with any of the developers, it's the same bullshit over and over and over again. They don't seem to get why people are upset. Just doesn't penetrate. They keep coming up with these. I realize for a lot of people this makes no sense, and a lot of people have heard this to death. But their newest fix for fucking conduit energy. Conduit energy shouldn't exist, for the love of fuck. Like, it doesn't help that you give an extra energy for every Covenant level. All you've now done is you've forced people to get more Covenant renown. Like, the fucking energy shouldn't exist, you morons. Remove it from the fucking game. But they don't think that way. They don't think that way. They just keep thinking, no. We can't allow people to play that way, so we must fix it. And then we'll fix the fix, because the fix is not really working and people are complaining. But it's clear that they don't understand why people are complaining, because the people that's complaining isn't going to complain less now that they can gain energy off of renown. Because the very reason that they're fucking complaining is because they don't want the energy to begin with. Because the energy, contrary to what Blizzard might think, doesn't actually solve the problem that they think exists in the game. Literally gates only people who play all content of the game and the 1% top of each content base, pointless system. That's it. The people that do not complain about conduit energy are the people that's never going to interact with conduit energy. Like, they're never going to experience conduit energy. The only people that complains about it are the people that is being fucked by it, and that's the group that shouldn't have to be fucked by the system. Because these are people that go out of their way to min-max their class for every single boss. I remember when I was a hardcore raider, right? You wouldn't have just one gear set. You would sometimes have different trinkets for different fights, different rings for different fights, different gear pieces for different fights. Back when tier sets was a thing, you would have old tier sets from the previous raid for specific fights. Why? Because on that fight, that tier set was just more OP. That's how we played. Your bag was completely filled with fucking gear pieces. That's all you had. Because you were constantly trying to figure out, okay, this boss goes here, this is going to go here, this is going to make me stronger here. It was part of the fun of actually raiding. Part of the reason people loved raiding, part of the reason I loved raiding, is that micromanagement of different gear. I remember running around with literally enchants for every single slot that could be enchanted. Crit, mastery, haste, all of the enchants that I would need, because for some bosses, for example, an AoE boss, mastery was far more overpowered, right? So you would change, for that boss, you would change all of your haste enchants to mastery enchants. Then you kill that boss, and you immediately change all of it back to haste, because the next boss is a single target. This is what you did as a hardcore raider. You were hyper-focused on individual boss min-maxing. That's all they want to do. That's why they don't want conduit energy. Because they want to be able to optimize for every single boss fight. Why are you forcing them? Why are you telling them that they're not allowed to do this thing that has been part of the game since day one? Resistance gear was another good example. Change them up for different bosses. I remember that. I liked that. It was fun back in the day. Would I do it again? Fuck no. But it was fun back in the day. It's sort of weird. It is weird whenever we talk about this, and it seems like all of us understand the fundamental issues. Like, all of us understand exactly what's going on here, but it just seems like they don't. You know? I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like they don't understand it. Venetia, it's not just Blizzard that's doing that. It seems to be almost every single gaming company has gone full tilt fucking mobile. It just feels like it. They all just go full-blown mobile. Which is really annoying, because why? You know? Why mobile games? Mobile games is the worst type of fucking game. They don't care to understand. I don't know if it's not caring. Remember, this is their job. If you look at the amount of work that they do to try and talk to the player base, I mean, let's be real here. Ian doesn't have to do interviews with Preach, right? They don't have to do interviews with Balila. They could potentially just shut the fuck up and make their game. And, well, players might complain, but who gives a shit? If they truly did not give a fuck, they wouldn't be doing all of these things. I actually believe that Blizzard cares a whole lot. They just don't seem to get it. They just seem to miss why a lot of players are upset as they are. The problem is their philosophy. So don't be sick, minion, of them mentioning it. The problem literally is their philosophy, though, not Final Fantasy. What do you mean, Mobile games collect a lot of info and they sell it. Well, luckily we're not yet there, right? I don't think. I don't know if Blizzard actually collects a lot of our information, but luckily we're not there yet. To be fair, I don't play mobile games, so I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't know how people play mobile games. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. If you're playing mobile games, like, why? Look at the players. They're all losing, like myself. I've played since vanilla. But this last X-Pack put another nail in that coffin. I'm worried. Like I said at the start of the stream, I'm worried. As someone who does this for a living, it is worrisome to sort of see the game going in the direction that it's going in, and to see the amount of players that is upset about it. I've quit WOD BFA and now Shadow. See, I didn't quit WOD. I don't know why people quit WOD. How many people here quit Warlords of Draenor? Like, how many people in chat decided, no, fuck Warlords of Draenor? Kylie K, moving on to a different game will undoubtedly mean a massive sub drop. Right? We've started, for those of you that haven't sort of recognized, I started doing other MMOs, and I've started, like, I'm literally doing the Final Fantasy first impressions. After that, I'm gonna do the ESO first impressions. I'm gonna do first impressions of different games, because that's something that I think would be really fun and cool to do. But yeah, if I stopped cold turkey doing World of Warcraft stuff, I would lose almost every single sub that I have. I don't know why people quit WOD. Remember, we killed Arky, and then there was almost a year of no new content. Yeah, but that was at the end, Adam. You quit at the end. That doesn't count. I fucking loved WOD. WOD was not a bad expansion, in my opinion. I realize for a lot of people it may have been, but I leveled characters. I was doing dungeons on different characters. I was doing raid on different characters. I was having tons of fun in Warlords of Draenor. Except for BFA, Shadowlands, and start of vanilla. WOD was a lot of orc stuff, so of course you loved it. It's not so much the orc stuff. It was, I could play the game the way that I wanted to play it. So Venetia, at that time, just to give you an example, when Warlords of Draenor was around, I played for two reasons. One was the story. Always loved the story of World of Warcraft. The other was to raid. I literally didn't have any other reason to play World of Warcraft. And in World of Draenor, I could raid on multiple characters because there was no sort of player power system, borrow power system that I had to interact with. It was literally level a new character, get to max level, start doing dungeons, jump into raids. Wasn't what I hoped it would be. True, there was a lot of, from a lore perspective, there was a lot of bad shit. Camping for those world spawn mounts, Pound Fist about broke me. Other than the Lords of War animatic, the story was terrible. Really didn't like the alternate timeline stuff. Cool Done was cool, I guess. For me, it was still a fun game. I had fun playing Warlords of Draenor because it allowed me to just play the game. I didn't have to worry about bullshit. I mean, let's not talk about garrisons. Again, I didn't have to worry about garrisons at all. In Warlords of Draenor, I didn't... the only garrison that was completely up to date and fully done was my main. All of my other characters had barely any of their garrisons done. Like I said, I would hit max level and immediately start doing dungeons and then immediately start raiding. So I couldn't give two fucks. I genuinely could not care less. World of Draenor was, as far as I'm concerned, better than BFA, better than Shadowlands, and I realize we're going to piss a lot of people off, better than Legion. Because, again, I could play all my characters. I didn't have to worry about which character... I didn't have to worry about player power and borrowed power for my ults. I could play the game that I wanted to play, which was raiding. That's all I cared about. I cared only about raiding. And the raids in World of Draenor was absolutely amazing. What was my favorite for class design and alts? I mean, we can get into a bunch of bad shit for WoD. There was very bad things. But like I said, it all depends on where you want to be with the game. Today, World of Draenor would bore the living fuck out of me because I no longer raid, right? Because I don't have the time for it. But back in the day, when all I did was raiding, World of Draenor was great because that's all I wanted to do. But on casuals, I'd say Cataclysm was pretty fucking good also. True, Andy, I would say Cataclysm was probably one of the best expansions outside of the obvious three, right? If we're going to talk about best, we have to say the Old Guard was sort of the best, right? You had Vanilla, you had TBC, you had Wrath. Those were amazing expansions. But sort of the modern World of Warcraft expansions, Cataclysm would be right up there for me as one of the best. Class design was amazing. The dungeons were awesome. The raids were fucking insane. The world was cool. I love Cataclysm. Only had my own account since last year, but I've had a bit of history with the game since my dad paid for an account. I let go of in Manila, BC, but currently in retail, I have no idea what class I liked until I finally settled in on a warrior. But leveling is so damn lonely. Burning Crusade, the RNG of fights is painful, and I hate fighting mobs. So I'm not playing TBC, as most of you can see. I don't even have a character ready for TBC. My classic Warlock is, I think, level 33 or some shit like that. I don't know why people are so excited for TBC. I'm not judging. People can like what they like. I did it when it was current. Like when TBC came out, I played TBC. I don't want to go back. I have no interest in going back there. I did all of those things. Going back would be boring to me. Miss the opportunities like Cataclysm people. Hey, if you never manage to do it, Venetia, 100% you have to try. Right? Playing Classic is like going back to an X. I don't know though, Alex. I don't know if, like, probably going back to a hot X. Because it's still a good experience. I mean, it's still a good game. The sex is good. The conversation, not so much. Is basically what I'm getting at. Alex, how you doing, bro? But seriously, I hate the combat in Classic. TBC fixed a lot of the combat issues. For at least Warlocks. Warlocks started to feel really good in TBC. Not great, but good. Can't really speak about the other classes. I didn't have any other classes when I was playing TBC. I literally just had my Warlock. I would say classes really started to feel amazing in Wrath of the Lich King. That's when classes really felt good. Like almost every class felt really cool in Wrath. What I like about Classic is you need to group up with people to get anywhere. I don't know if you're ever going to get that back, right? I don't know if that's necessarily something that we should get back. But you could do something like what Moby said or Adam said earlier. You could force people into dungeon content, right? And you could force people into group content that sort of allows them to feel that MMO aspect. Housing would be really cool. Is the hype for TBC not saying how rubbish retail is at the moment? I wouldn't say that because it's two different audiences, right? A lot of people that play TBC probably isn't going to play a lot of retail, nor would they have. So I'm not convinced that the one is sort of indicative of the other. But I do think as a whole, the hype for both Classic and TBC Classic does signify that more and more players are becoming disenfranchised with modern day retail WoW. Won't happen because we always move our base of operation with every X-Pack, and it seems like Blizzard doesn't want us to be returning to old content, and a moving house is kind of stupid. But Andy, that's the whole point of the housing system, is it would allow old content to remain relevant because you could add housing items to the old content, right? So you could keep old content alive while also keeping the housing system alive, where people can have their houses. And also you don't really have, you can do it like Final Fantasy. In Final Fantasy, you go to these like almost separate servers. It's like that. It's called the housing district, I think, where I am now. And then you can choose the different shards of the housing system that you want to go to. And then all these houses is sort of built on this separate server. They're not actually in the real world, even though they look as if they're in the real world. Because looking out on from the housing system, you see the world that they're built in. Well, Dalaran, there's a reason why Dalaran can actually move. Blizzard could probably do floating houses if they really wanted to, which would then allow for housing to move, I suppose. Like, that could work, I suppose. On how to do things overall. I agree with you, Annie. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it should. Come back to Stormin and Orgrimmar, so why not make houses there? Well, Blizzard could never make houses in the real game, right? That's guaranteed. Never gonna happen. It would almost entirely fail if Blizzard even tried. That said, though, it's sort of it's weird because there's so many nice ways of doing housing in World of Warcraft, right? Stockwind, that's a good example, like housing on a floating city. But there are so many good ways of doing houses that Blizzard could steal from other games that would be perfectly fine, and housing would fix so many issues within World of Warcraft. Guild housing would probably go even further to fixing all of the other problems, like giving guilds something to actually work towards and actually work for. I think a lot of guilds would be very, very happy with that. Venetia, mainly the people that like housing, the majority of people that like housing are people that like it for like casuals. These are people that they want to be out in the world, they want to collect stuff, they just want to explore. That's what people like. I'm sure we've spoken about this at length. We have. I think Blizzard would have to increase the amount of NPCs in the cities also, as a lot of players would not just stand around the cities like a billion times. If you had your housing, like the way housing should work is it should create freedom, and it should create the incentive for people to move into the open world. So if you build housing, if you make a housing system that removes players from the world, you've done it wrong. I'd be out in the world looking for the things I wanted. But that's exactly it. That's exactly it. All the time they waste focusing on conduits, covenants, or Azerite armor and the chain of shit they invented to fix that through BFA. Think of all that time was on making pure content like more dungeons or world content. Minion, it could be fun, but I don't think we could even fucking go that route at this point. I'd want a casino in my house. They'd have so much more to do. Just imagine how much of cosmetic stuff would pop up in store for housing. Arius, the thing is, there's going to be cosmetic stuff anyways, right? Now, if it's for housing, at least then it doesn't feel... at least then it doesn't feel wrong, if that makes sense. Right? Because that's cosmetic only. And for the vast majority of players, as long as they can get real cool stuff, they're not going to bother. It's just a visual representation of time spent and achievements, way better than a tab no one looks at. That's exactly how I and Apocalypse, we've spoken about this before. No, the store shouldn't exist, but Aureus, this is a windmill we've tilted at multiple times, and it's never going to change. But what Apocalypse is saying there is actually the perfect example of what myself and him have spoken about before for the patron live stream when we discussed player housing. Player housing should be, you know, that tab that you have right now that shows off all of your achievements, and the tab that shows off your mounts, and the tab that shows your pets. Player housing should be a visual representation of those tabs, where you can choose to showcase the heads of the bosses that you've killed in your house as trophies. You can showcase the very hard to earn mounts that you had in your house. So things that you acquired in the world is simply visually represented within the house. I have to go get ready for the gym, ladies and gentlemen. So let's make this the last few minutes. Kelliger, how you doing, bro? I have to start getting ready for the gym. But let's do about 5-10 minutes more, and then I'm gonna go fuck myself up at the gym. Yeah, ask whichever questions you have. Spend so much time on finding just the right decor. I don't think you're alone. No one can't spell them out. I genuinely don't think you're alone on that. Olivia, how you doing? So you are fine now? I'm doing very well. Finally going back to the gym, working out. It's all fucking good. Stay with Invincible. Ashes of Alar with Ball roaming around and Garrosh's shoulders over the door frame. Have you ever farted at the gym doing squats? I have not, Minion. I just won class time trials. I would actually love for the class trials to come back. Andy, the thing is, you could be able to, so you could limit it to, say, 10 mounts, right? And let the player choose the 10 mounts that they're most proud of to sort of roam around the yard. I think housing would be lousier transmog system. You'll have to drag people to show them your house. Or you'd be surprised how many games offer, like, freedom in that regard. So in Final Fantasy, for example, you can go into other people's houses, right? Even while they're offline, you can go check out the houses, and it's sort of interesting and fun to look at their houses. So you can absolutely do it. And it's not about dragging people there. It's about, that will be something that people who collect housing items and build their house, they'd love to run around and sort of look at other people's houses and see what other people are up to and other people are doing. I haven't really tested out the housing system in ESO. But Andy, again, that's something that I would add. So for example, like an armor rack, some armor racks, some weapon racks, and these are things that you also have to collect. So it doesn't just exist. You have to go out and find armor racks and weapon racks. But then when you have an armor rack, you can sort of put any tier set you want on that armor rack so that it looks like a proper armor rack. You know, like those armors that you see in museums. It looks like that. Like his saying is, he's a fan of the occasional HGTV binge. I don't know what HGTV means. What is that? Home garden. I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay. So I'm literally an advocate for the housing system, knowing full well that I will never engage in it. To be clear, I am not an advocate for player housing because I think it would be cool for me to do it. I will never own a house in any game, and I will never spend time building a house or making a house in any game. I have no interest in it. It's like transmogs. I don't collect transmogs. I don't collect pets. I don't collect mounts. I don't collect stuff. I couldn't give two fucks. Like, those things just legitimately do not matter to me. So I am an advocate for it because I see the potential. I see the potential for players who actually care about stuff like that, and how much that would mean to those players, and how much it would help for casual content to be in the game. That's big. How you doing, bro? Identification card is a good idea. What do you mean? An identification card for what? Because I have an ID card. Everyone in South Africa that's 16 years old has an ID card. Like, it's literally law. There's very few things you can't do without an ID card. Like, trying to think now. You can't open a bank account. You can't get a job. You can literally do nothing without your ID in South Africa. I could have literally one wish fulfilled by Blizzard. Make the MMO game not fucking lag if there's more than 30 people. Please, just fucking get new servers or something. I think you're not alone on that, Andy. Wouldn't it be cool if after you beat the dungeon in WoW, it becomes your guild's house and your char's house? It might work, but that would create more problems than it would solve. You're really liking Final Fantasy XIV since you swapped over to it? I'm still trying to find the fun, minion. I'm still trying to find the fun. I'm level 18 at the moment in Final Fantasy and still fucking trying. You're in South Africa? I am. That's big. Anyways, I mean like a card that isn't specific personal. Just a general card that says you support this or something like that. That's big. Depends on what you mean by support. Depends on, like, all of that would depend. Because I don't think that there should ever be national databases sort of putting people into what they support or what they don't support. So for example, if someone is pro gun rights, yeah, pro the Second Amendment, I don't think there should be a national register or registry that shows all the people that's pro guns or people that's anti-guns. I don't think there should be a registry showing that they're anti-guns, because I think that could be used by a bad government to do horrible shit to the people that is on the wrong side of their fucking of whatever they think is the good thing, right? Kylie K, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Namwat, thank you for the 2 months up. Did really appreciate that. 34 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another month down, this time from Texas. It's humid as hell here, and the insects are too big, misplaced. Namwat, do you live in Texas now, or? Your opinion should always be adapting and shifting, never permanent. I have an organ donor card, if that's what he means. I'm not entirely sure. I'm a huge believer in freedom and autonomy. I believe that we should be as anonymous as humanly possible. Mary, take care of yourself. Thank you for trying out. I don't have a donor card. Missy, how you doing? Feel like you have a good head on your shoulders. Keep up the awesomeness. That's big. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Just moved from New Hampshire. Ah, okay. Texas is a good spot. Always. What can be taken from you? I'm probably not going to donate any of my organs. Let's be real. They're going to be fucked by the time I die. I mean, I'm not going to get into political discussions here, but I believe in absolute freedom wherever possible. The only time your freedoms should not exist is when your freedoms are infringing on other people's freedoms. Corneas, by my wishes, from a useful standpoint, probably nothing at this point. Why not corneas? Apocalypse. What's wrong with your corneas? Oh, fuck, when's my power going out again? They lost their corners? Probably. Sorry, I'm just checking when my power's going out again. I think it's this morning. Tomorrow morning, actually. Let's see here. Yep. Tomorrow morning. Alright, so just quickly here. Tomorrow we're gonna have a shorter stream because tomorrow my power will be out from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and then from 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. So we'll probably do 4 to just before 6. So we'll have a bit of a shorter stream, but I'll try and make it as entertaining as humanly possible. And then on Friday, my power is out from 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. So we'll probably again do a shorter stream on Friday. Or maybe we'll start a little bit earlier on Friday. We could start a little bit earlier tomorrow and Friday to make sure that we get a little bit in. Playing Final Fantasy after the stream. I might do, Adam. I know Enoch wants to hang out as well. It all depends on workload and how the gym goes. If I get back and I'm too tired, I'm not going to fucking play Final Fantasy. Also, I can't really play Final Fantasy with anyone at the moment. So just to be clear, when I'm playing Final Fantasy, I'm doing it as follows. I have the game on, I'm recording myself, and I have the mic. And I'm providing commentary as I play the game. So whenever something happens, I'm commenting on it. And then Alex takes 2 hours at a time footage and sort of condenses it to about 5 minutes. And then all of that is going to be the final video. Missy, thank you very much for the 100 bits. Really fucking appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How come you have power shortage repairs? Or no, fucked up country. My country doesn't have enough electricity for all the citizens in the country, so they have to turn off the power for like half the country and then the other half of the country every 2.5 hours. Oh yeah, no, Adam, I will definitely do that. As I said to Enoch as well, my main focus at the moment is want to get to max level or at least level 50 or wherever, right? So that I can start doing the end game stuff. And then once we get to the end game stuff, so level 80, that's where I'm going to be playing with all of you, just so that I can get a feel for what the end game feels like. That's sort of the goal. But right now, I'm still struggling through the leveling and trying to make that as fun as humanly possible. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that said, thank you so much for coming out, for hanging out with me, for spending your Wednesday with me. I will see all of you back here tomorrow, hopefully. I will see all of you back here tomorrow. If you're busy, of course, that is perfectly fine. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Be kind to each other. Be good to each other. And as always, think about me while I'm at the gym, because tonight's gonna fucking suck. Squat day. It's always a hard day. But yeah, take care of yourselves, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.